What's up?
How are you, man?
I'm okay.
Somber notes, but
Yeah, well, I hope we don't keep it that way.
no, we got to send them. We got to send Keone off with a hopeful future for things that could arise. And
well, hopefully
we have to think positively to support him and his family and make sure that we do everything we can. We definitely need more people to sign the staying petition.
Yeah, maybe we can keep him out of jail entirely. I mean, I think that would be really an injustice. Bill and Keone spent one night in jail. That would be an injustice. So we're going to have a live stream-a-thon. We're going to bring in as many people as we can to show love and support for them and have a bit of a send-off party, kind of have as much, good vibes as we can put out.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
We're jamming to some Big Daddy, Notorious B1 here. This is unearthed from the Diddy saga. This came out like 9 months before Biggie put out this exact beat and basically flow, I think.
I guess it's kind of fitting, right? Criminals don't go to jail and the good guys do.
Things aren't always what they seem.
No.
So we'll let people roll in. Then we'll play the channel trailer for Bitcoin Matrix, kind of set the stage, and then we'll introduce the show. So
let's do it.
I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. It's good to see you.
Likewise. How was your weekend?
Oh, the weekend was great. Great weather down here in Florida. Can't really beat that. How was your weekend?
It was nice. Had some Christmas cheer. Friends, family.
Yeah, the Christmas vibe is out. Happy holidays, everybody. Hanukkah started. Christmas is days away. Keone and his family will be spending or celebrating Christmas tomorrow.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna
lucky to be with his family right now, but it sucks to celebrate it early for these reasons, I think.
We have Shannon coming on to play a little Christmas jingle for him.
Yeah, Shannon Fitzgerald, former MTV showrunner. She's been working really hard behind the scenes. There's been a lot of people pulling together, trying to get the word out. Frat interviewed Keone today. Puncher 75 has been really, getting the word out. Jesse Tevelov kind of brought me in and I think kind of kicked this whole thing off. Angela McCardle, former president of the Libertarian Party, working hard behind the scenes. So hopefully those people will come out. Larry Pard kind of has gotten on board of late. So Parker Lewis. Yeah. Hope Tony Mittenberger will say hi to everybody tonight, hopefully. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's obvious to me, right? And I think probably everybody that the plea is not the real issue here, right? What these guys had to plead to is not what they're going to jail for. And so this is a war on privacy, and it's a war on freedom. It's a war on our rights as citizens of the United States. And I don't know if enough Bitcoiners have really realized the magnitude.
Well, do you think this is just Bitcoiners?
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But I'm really bummed out that we don't have more people signing the petition. This is not, I mean, we're all here, but there's a lot of Bitcoiners out there that aren't, and we need to make sure that they realize what they own and they realize how important development in this space is, how important self-custody is, your privacy is, and it's a slippery slope. So we have to fight this fight as strong as we can.
Yeah, I mean, I feel this personally and viscerally. I'm ashamed for this country that Bill and Keone are fighting this for us, or taking the heat.
Yeah.
So let's roll the Bitcoin Matrix trailer, set the stage, and then we'll get the show going.
Basically, we're living through the Matrix now. It's realistic enough that it feels real, but it's just not real.
Fiat keeps you on the hamster wheel forever and ever and ever.
Your average fiat paper, you put it under your mattress, it's lost half of its value.
Fiat is stressful, and not having enough money to pay the bills and maxing out your credit cards and paying 21% interest rates is super stressful.
The average fiat currency or total fiat currency supply increases at around 14% per year. Well, 14% means you lose 50% in 5 years. They've broken this natural order of life where they just figured out that you don't have to worry.
We have a solution to this. The solution is very clear. Thank God Bitcoin has been invented.
Think about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. They have such an opportunity here to recapitalize America's balance sheet.
The Bitcoin network and the software and the protocol are extremely stable.
Once I put it in cyberspace, it's not just immortal, it's pure energy.
Bitcoin is the exact opposite, right? It gives you a low time preference. It actually not only preserves your purchasing power, but it appreciates your purchasing power over time.
What that means is prices continue to fall against Bitcoin forever.
It can return us to an economy of saving, an economy of something based on value.
I think that is literally like Bitcoin's time to shine, to show the world that it is a safe haven asset.
If there's a strategic Bitcoin reserve, we're going to see the price of Bitcoin go up, and there could be a game theory phenomenon happening.
Bitcoin will never die as long as there's one person alive in this world that yearns for freedom.
Rather than waving flags in the street to protest things we don't believe in politically, we're going to use the power of cryptography to technologically defend human rights.
Bitcoiners are very optimistic and hopeful for the future. And Bitcoiners understand what's broken, and they understand that they have the solution.
And then all of the $900 trillion of capital is going to pursue it on some level.
Oh my God, it's the best drug on earth. There's nothing like it. I've done cocaine, Cedric. This is better than cocaine. It feels amazing.
Bitcoin is a chance to be part of something that will have more of a lasting impact on the world than anything else you could possibly be involved in.
It's a more robust platform, and this thing comes in peace. It's not looking to destroy them. It's not declaring war on them. It's declaring peace on everyone. It says, come if you want.
You have to believe that you are the kind of person who can participate in the Bitcoin story.
Welcome back to Bitcoin Center. So our live stream brought to you by Byte Federal. Check out Byte Federal's Bitcoin ATMs, point of sale, and Bitcoin wallet. Then take self-custody of your Bitcoin and go bank yourself. My name's Cedric Youngelman, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Paul Tarantino. Dude, that was, I love our Bitcoin family. That intro just, it gets me fired up every time, man.
You just like
Great
you're
job.
on there.
Thanks. Yeah. No, seriously, like the Bitcoiners are the best. You guys are the best. You guys speak the truth. You speak from your heart, and we love you for that. And we want to share that with Keone tonight. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on this emergency broadcast of a live STREAM-A-THON. Part to get the word out for signing the petition and part in Samourai. And it's a bit of a send-off party for our good friend Keone Rodriguez and Bill, who can't be with us tonight. So let's get right into it. Francis, if you could roll the Bitcoin Center intro, and we'll bring out Keone.
Let's be real, right? Praising Telegram for launching a Bitcoin wallet. I've always felt like Bukele.
Bitcoin, this digital currency that's out there that people say, oh, it might be the next big thing. What do you think?
I think it's rat poison.
Bitcoins. You never heard of them a few weeks ago? Now everybody's talking about them, but is it a currency?
I don't know. Or is it more like a stock? Or is it a tulip bulb?
Or is
We're
it
going to
just
debate that.
Stupid.
To me, it smells like Ponzi scheme and the greater fool theory, right?
You do like 5 minutes of freaking research.
Well, good. Thanks for coming to my set talk.
Yes.
Don't buy shitcoins. Oh, man, I always get that wrong. All right. Bitcoin's recent rally.
Do you agree? Is crypto finally dead? Go to the next one.
Matter of fact, they're kind of in the Ethernet. What are they? There's some rumors that it's this Japanese guy, but others say no, that he's a fake name. It was a pseudonym. I mean, you're literally putting real money onto a system that we don't even know who created it.
It will come to a bad ending.
Is this the most exciting bull run ever?
Not for me. No, it's not.
Welcome to Bitcoin Center, the fast-paced show where the debate is the story.
All right. Well, I don't think we're doing much debating tonight.
No debates tonight.
Let's get into
love
it.
and appreciation.
Yeah, let's go. We have a lot of people in the waiting room, so we'll try to cycle through as best we can. Keone, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. You said somber notes at the beginning. No, let's not do any more somber notes. We're going to have a good time tonight. You know, I'm very happy that you invited me here, and let's have a good time.
Yeah.
Awesome, buddy.
Well,
Awesome.
wow, you seem to be in great spirits. How would you describe how you're holding up otherwise?
You know, I'm tired. I've done so many interviews and recordings over the last week. This is my last one, and I wanted it to be, you know, I don't want people to be depressed or downtrodden. I want them to be fired up, you know, and to say, hey, this is something that isn't right. Let's do something about it. Let's get this in front of the president. Let's see if we can make something happen and not feel defeated. I'm not feeling defeated, so you guys shouldn't either.
Awesome. So, Keone, maybe before we jump into Trump, if you know, from everything you've experienced in the last year and more, people that want, you know, maybe there's other developers out there that want to pick up the torch and go to the next level. What advice, what guidance would you give them to keep pushing for freedom and privacy?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two types of advice, right? One is more practical and one is more philosophical. On the philosophical side, use this experience that Bill and I are going through as your fire, right? Like the whole point of this prosecution was to chill privacy tech in the United States by a out of control Biden DOJ and Biden administration who were upfront and clear that they were against crypto. They didn't like it. So the whole point was to create this chilling effect. And as a builder, that should tell you that's the exact type of thing I should be building. If the government is saying, don't do it, we don't want you to do it, that's what you should be focusing on. So have that fire in your belly and know that this is so important. It's so important that that the might of the federal government needed to be brought down on Bill and myself to stop it. And then from a more practical point of view, we now know explicitly that the law doesn't really matter. Even though we were well within the law and what we were doing, and we felt secure in doing what we were doing openly, they don't play by the same rules that they expect us to play by. And so knowing that, take precautions, right? Don't be more anonymous. Be careful with what platforms you're on. Telegram, for example, might not be super safe. Twitter or X, you know, unless you're taking real good care of your operational security, it might not be the best place. But that's not enough of a reason to not do it. If you're able to get legal representation as soon as you can, have them write their opinion down on paper and have it and give it to you. If you have the means, put down a pretty large retainer at a good law firm who can represent you if things go south. That's something I wish we would have done. It made it really difficult when we were arrested and told we couldn't use Bitcoin to obtain legal counsel when you don't have anything but Bitcoin. Had we done that before arrest, it would have made things a lot less stressful. Ultimately, it all worked out. We were able to find counsel, but it, you know, just from a stress point of view, it would have been a lot easier had we taken those steps before. And but of course, we thought, hey, what we're doing is legal. We have crypto-focused attorneys who have looked at this and said it's legal. Everyone in the industry thought it was legal. Now we know that doesn't matter. If you make anything consequential and get people to use it, and the powers that be don't like it, they will come after you. So be prepared for that. And preparation is the name of the game. So if you're prepared for it, you feel more comfortable doing it. So I think that's the best advice I can give. Don't stop. Don't let them win. Don't let the chilling effect happen. Build the tools.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
we still have time, and we're going to get the word out. And there's a lot of people who've been working behind the scenes, and there's a lot of people that have been making as much noise as possible, and they want to party with you, and they want to be with you. So let's start bringing people in, and let's get this party started. Paul, you're going to drink us some wine. We're drink some wine. We'll pour it down our throats. So, Jesse, you've been you brought me on board and really instrumental in getting the word out to the entire Bitcoin community. And I think this is bigger than just Bitcoin. But just how did this come your way? And what has this experience been like for you? And can you show maybe some love and support for Keone?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you, Cedric, for doing this. Thanks for having me. And thank you, Keone, for being who you are and for being such an incredible person. I got brought into this. I had heard about this, actually. I had heard about the product over the years, and I had heard that there was some rumblings of something, happening with it, with the product. I didn't really know too much about it. And then I heard on Bitcoin Today with Bob Van Kirk and Puncher and the whole crew there. And, I often am on that show, and it struck me immediately. And I kind of put the pieces together and said, wait, is this that thing I had been hearing about? And then hearing Bob talk about it, it sounded very bad. And I got in touch immediately that day. That was Friday of last week, right, Keone?
Yeah.
Got in touch with you immediately, said, hey, look, man, I want to get on and do an interview, and I want to post it immediately because I knew about the deadline. That's what got me. I was like, this is crazy, and we have to do something. And, I was talking to Puncher directly. Puncher's a good friend of mine at this point. I've been hanging out with him a lot over the past year. And I knew that he was bothered by it. And he said, look, can I jump on to the interview? I said, of course, that would be amazing. And both of us, I dropped everything for the day, said I need to focus on this. I think Puncher pretty much was doing the same thing. And by Saturday, Keone, when we posted it, by the weekend, I think it was 100,000 views and a lot of people knew about it. And then we went back on Bitcoin Today, and it's been tremendous. It's just, I guess what I would like to say, because I know there's a lot of people that want to get up here. There's a lot of people that are helping, and there's so many unsung heroes in this. And I want people to understand that this is completely organic. It was organic with me, and it's been organic with everybody. Cedric, you included, right? You've been tremendous. You've been on the back channels with me, putting in work, and, Keone's exhausted. We're all pretty exhausted. I'm not sleeping much. And I just want to say, Keone's incredible. He's been incredible through this whole thing. And Keone, I think you are an example for, everything that we're fighting for. Everything, literally everything, not just Bitcoin, but humanity, human rights, America, kindness, truth. You name it, anything good. I truly believe that this guy, Keone Rodriguez, and his partner, Bill, who I haven't talked to, but through the connection, I believe both of you are purely innocent. I don't see anything wrong here. All I see is corruption. And I'm just proud of everybody. I'm proud of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Keone, you just continue to amaze me the way you just showed up at the beginning of this call. I know you're exhausted and you're like, hey, there's another smile. He's just like, and this is how he is all the time, guys, because I'm talking to him every day now. I talk to him privately, and we're just talking on the phone, and we're chatting, and he's just a good guy, an entrepreneur, an American hero. And here we are, and we may get a pardon. I'm still hopeful, man. I think we're all sitting here hoping for like a Christmas miracle, and look, if it doesn't happen, all good. We keep marching. But it's been, I think it's on the table. I think we have a chance here to try to get you to not have to spend any time behind bars. So I'll shut up. I'm very, very proud to be here. Proud to be here.
Cheers, L'chaim. I'm gonna drink every time someone signs the petition. Scan that QR code. Pardon Samourai. Let's free the boys before Christmas, before they spend a night in jail. Let's play the clip from Trump if we can, Francis. I'm 3 deep here.
President,
This week, a man named Keone Rodriguez is going to federal prison for creating crypto privacy software. The case was started under the Biden administration, but your DOJ kept it going and secured the conviction. A lot of people in crypto are saying that this man should be pardoned. Are you familiar with the case at all, or would you be interested?
I've heard about it. I'll look at it. Why, you think he should be pardoned? Sounds like it. Sounds like, based on your question.
Many people in
Rodriguez, we'll look at that, Pam. Okay, let's take a look at it. You know, you'll have to tell me. I don't know anything about it, but we'll take a look.
That's, I mean, incredibly optimistic. He sounded like he believes you're innocent. I believe you're innocent.
I think it was optimistic for sure. You know, I've seen a lot of Q&A with President Trump. You know, he takes press questions quite often, and he has really no issue in not answering a question or blowing a question off if he's not interested in talking about it. This clip was like 37 seconds or 35 seconds. That's a lot of time for the president to spend on a question if he wasn't interested in what it was about. So, you know, I think it's on his radar now. And that's really the whole point of the last week and some of all the press, all the podcasts, all the recordings, everything was how do we get the president's attention? Because I said it yesterday on X, but I truly believe with the president's attention, we have a pretty good shot, right? The president has experienced lawfare. He has experienced a weaponized Department of Justice. They have gone after him. So he knows it when he sees it. And if he looks at our case, he will see it again, just like he saw it with himself. So I think cautious optimism is warranted. This is a truly incredible development. And I'm very thankful to the reporter from Decrypt who asked the question to bring it to the president's mind, and president delegating his attorney general to look into it.
Was that a complete surprise, or was there any indication?
Totally.
Wow, that had to be
total surprise.
Completely up.
And this, you know, people have asked me, like, why are you spending so much time doing all of these recordings and this press and these podcasts? And I've told them I'm walking through every single door that opens. You know, I'm not going to sit in a cell wondering, did I do enough? Right. And so early last week, or even maybe the week before that, someone, a reporter from Decrypt asked me, hey, I'm writing a written article. Would you like to be interviewed for it? It's not going to be only about you, but, you know, you could be featured in it. And I said, absolutely, let's talk. And we had a great discussion. I told him about the case. He wrote his article. It was a good article. It's on Decrypt if anyone wants to read it. And it just turns out that this reporter, who I never spoke to before and didn't know, is also a White House correspondent for Decrypt. And he's the one who asked the president that question. So, you know, you walk through every single door that opens. If I hadn't have done the Bitcoin veteran space with Bob, I never would have met Jesse. And this whole, you know, movement that has sprung up very organically, like Jesse said, is all because I did that one Twitter space, you know, and it's really, it's important to walk through every door that opens. And I'm so glad that I have. And it's really culminated to this moment where we have so many people helping. Like Jesse said, there's a whole team of people. These are highly educated, highly trained, very effective people. Had I had to pay for their expertise, I would be even more debt than I am right now. But here that, you know, you're seeing them pop up now. These people have donated their time and their energy and their resources into this movement, and I can't thank them enough.
Angela McCardle, thank you for hopping on.
Hey, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
How did you kind of get linked to this cause, and what inspired you to kind of get behind it?
Well, after Ross Ulbricht was freed, a lot of people came out of the woodwork to me asking me if I can help them. It's a really surreal experience to have someone approach you or their wife or whoever and be like, hey, can you help me get out of prison? It's like I don't really fully know how to articulate it. And so, you know, I've been trying so hard to get Ian Freeman a presidential pardon. He's a Bitcoiner who's locked in federal prison in New Hampshire. And then I met Tor Eklund, who is the attorney for Roman Sterlingov, and he's like, can you work with Sterlingov? And I'm like, yeah, and I just like straight to the DOJ. And I'm like literally on my way to visit the pardon attorney's office. And people are like, don't forget Samourai wallet. Don't forget Roman Storm. And I'm like, okay, send me everything. I just start calling people's attorneys and I'm like, are you guys talking to each other? And it's like, no, everybody's really siloed. So I was like, oh, we gotta communicate. Like we gotta link arms. So it's just kind of like, it's just irresistible when an innocent person is like, can you help me get out of prison? What do you say? Like, you don't say no. The answer is absolutely. I really feel like God just kind of like pushed me into this role. Like a few years ago, I was running for chair of the National Libertarian Party. I'm talking with Tom Woods and some other libertarian thought leaders on it. And they're like, Angela, why are you, this seems kind of like crazy. And like, is this productive? And I was like, I don't really know how to articulate it. I don't know that it's about the Libertarian Party, but I feel like God is putting me here so I can do something important. And this is what that is.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I just want to say that I knew about Angela. I knew what she had done for Ross. I didn't think I had a chance in hell of even talking to Angela, imagining how busy she must be. And it was Angela who reached out to me and said, let's work together. I want to help you. It was right after my sentencing. It was probably one of the worst days of my life. And Angela reached out to me and said, let's talk. And she's just been absolutely instrumental. Really, really smart woman, great brain for strategy, and truly cares about the cause of freedom. And that comes out through everything she's done. And if she's done nothing other than get Ross pardoned, that's enough for me. Like that's what a huge result that is. So yeah, thank you for all your help. Angela.
You're welcome, and praying, fingers crossed, all of the above, that we can make something happen, by Friday, if not at least before Christmas.
Yeah, for sure.
Larry, thank you for joining us. Would you like to say something?
Sure. Well, first of all, Keone, I hadn't met you before, but I have enormous respect for what you've done and the fight that you're in, because I feel like you're a warrior for freedom, and that's what we really all are. Bitcoin's not about number go up. Bitcoin's about fixing the world, as my book talked about, and you're right there on the front line. And so, tons and tons of respect, as really respect for everybody on this call. Angela, Jesse, Puncher, Efrat, Charlie. It's funny. Charlie and I were on a stage together. I believe that's Charlie. Charlie, am I identifying you correctly? Is that Charlie Shrem there in the final box?
No.
No. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Okay. It was Charlie Shrem.
Pretend it is.
Yeah. In any case, my mistake. Look, I just think what's happened here is a tragedy, and hopefully it can be set right. I think that obviously the reporter did you a real incredible solid, and my sense is that Trump's not a stupid man, and that once he's briefed on this, there really is no legal case here. I mean, if writing software were illegal, it's protected under the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and that's really all you've done. As I think and I talked about, I think in chats with some people on, what I think happened here is more than anything else, the rhetoric got you in trouble. It reminds me a lot of a case Bernard von Nauthaus did a similar thing back in the 2005-2008 timeframe with something called the Liberty Dollar, and he was very anti-dollar, anti-fiat currency, and he created an alternative, and they decided to make an example out of him. And I think that's really what's happened here. But there's no legal basis for what they're doing, and so I'm extremely confident that you will be vindicated. I hope you don't have to spend one night in jail, but you might, it sounds like. But I can't imagine you're going to spend a lot of time in jail based on once the facts come out, and if the groundswell here is overwhelming, we're going to be in a position where Trump's just not going to be able to not pardon you. So my hat's off to Puncher, who really took the lead on this, and Jesse. and you as well, Angela, took the lead on this and went out and, got this whole thing going. I mean, it's a credit to this community, and we should try and continue to spread the word. I know the Minute Puncher came out with his epic rant, and things like the fact that he was an F-16 pilot, served in the military. I mean, that kind of stuff that resonates with a Trump, right? I mean, here we got legitimate, honest, hardworking Americans who are MAGA to the core, and who can see that lawfare is being practiced against one of their friends. I think a few of those. If he sees that video clip, you're out. So we got to just hope he sees that video clip. I'm praying that you will be out soon. But if you're not out, so be it. That might be the path you have to walk through. But some people criticize you for taking the plea deal. I don't criticize you at all. I think you had to take the plea deal. I mean, taking the risk of bigger fine and all the time made no sense whatsoever. And I mean, the absolute worst case, if you had to serve out your sentence here, I can't even imagine that you'd be behind bars for 5 years. It would probably be commuted to something significantly less. And let's pray that doesn't happen. So, nothing but respect for what you did and for the way you fought this, calmly and intelligently. And I hope we have a good outcome. That's all I can say.
I mean, let's not forget he's already under home arrest, so time's already been served. This is unjust time's already been served.
Yeah.
I want to throw it to Kevin Kelly, really influential puncher, and just kind of promoting this and bringing this to a lot of people and putting some sort of motivation behind it. Thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts on?
Thanks, Ed. I just, Jesse, credit to him. We heard about this, and I hate injustice, particularly in my own country. And the more I heard about Keone's situation and Bill's, I was just like, man, this can't stand. And I learned in the military that if I had a problem that was a small problem that wasn't getting addressed, I just turned it into a big problem, and then I turned it into everybody's problem. So just started screaming about it and going on my crazy Irish rant about what happened. And the more I looked into it, what I wanted to make sure was that if I asked Jeff and Larry and other folks who have built, a reputation and a platform it's valuable, that for sure we vetted Keone's story out. So we did that. And like a soldier, man, he came up on Bitcoin today. He answered every question. And the more I heard, the more outrageous the situation became. But, there was a lot of people like backbenchers on Twitter and things were saying, oh, you don't understand, these guys are this, that, and the other thing. I would immediately say, we're going to give you head of the line privileges. You can speak to Keone on Bitcoin today. And to a person, they all kind of wimped out. Not one of them showed up, which told me we're on the right path. And then I felt comfortable going out to the Bitcoin network, which is just amazing, by the way. And a lot of people stand up on stage at conferences and things and talk about Bitcoin, but it's more than just number go up. It's a community, and we're going to be the future judges and magistrates when this all happens. And I believe that. But then to kind of stand in the sidelines when you have that stage, like if you're not going to step up, and a lot of people didn't initially. Larry, to his credit, jumped in right away, said, and a lot of others, they really just showed me that what good, honest, decent people they are. And some people stayed in the background a little bit, and I get that, but some people refused to do anything, and that was very disappointing. So to those people, next time you get up on a stage, just talk about number go up, and don't feed us the rest of that BS, because when the time came to stand up, you didn't do it. To the women of Bitcoin, Sharon, Shannon, Angela, Lynn, the women in Bitcoin are amazing. I know I'm leaving somebody out. Shannon, Natalie Brunel.
Natalie
the women.
Efrat.
I mean, the women in Bitcoin, small in number, relative to the men, were just amazing. Like they just came right out, no questions asked. We're on board, and they're so talented, and I'm just extremely privileged to know them and count them as friends as everybody on this space. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Amazing. Cheers.
Yeah, for sure.
To the women in Bitcoin.
Cheers. I drink, but I got a glass of water. I'll drink a glass of water. I'm at a lacrosse practice right now.
Me too. We got water.
Naomi Brockwell too.
Seb Bunny.
Yes.
Thanks for jumping on.
Cool.
You got
Nice
the
to
love and
see
support
everyone.
for Keone? It's nice to see you.
Yeah, no, honestly, more than anything, and I apologize if I cough, I've picked up a bit of a cold, but more than anything, like, Keone, I think I'm sure I speak for like thousands, if not tens of thousands of people that have never met you personally, that have never had these conversations, that are in the shadows, that are absolutely like behind your back. And I think that like the age of the internet, the ability to be able to communicate and share a message is truly profound. And so I think it's incredible what it is that you've done. And I think that it really is like a beacon of light in a world that at times can be quite dark. And I think ultimately there's that saying in Bitcoin, like, we are all Satoshi. Like, there is no central kind of planner for Bitcoin. There is no marketing department. Bitcoin success falls on kind of the shoulders of all of us as individuals. And I just think that it takes a ton of courage to be able to stand up, even when there is a lot of opposition and a world that can be kind of against us at many times, and to be able to honor what it is that we believe in, because I think that that's how we move towards a better world. And so I think it is absolutely incredible what it is you're doing and what you have done. And you've got the absolute backing for myself, and I'm sure I speak for thousands of others when I say that you've got their backing as well. And I really just urge anyone kind of listening to this, again, like, Bitcoin success falls on us as individuals. So it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a mountain bike instructor, a cafe worker, you speak to a unique cohort of individuals, and to share that voice. Don't self-censor because of a world that kind of intimidates people. Like, don't self-censor, because that's how we move towards a world of prosperity. I truly believe that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hear, hear. Thank you very much.
Well, everyone, please scan the QR code, sign the petition if you haven't already done so. Brandon Keys, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Unfortunately, it's I wish it was under better circumstances that we're meeting Keone, but just to echo Seb Bunny's point, I mean, I think we're seeing the strength of the community now to really come out and get this in front of the president. And I mean, I'm pretty optimistic. I mean, it seems like it's a movement here, and I think everybody rallying around is really encouraging to me. And seeing you in high spirits as well, Keone, I mean, just seeing the snowball effect from the community has been, I think it just really says a lot about the Bitcoin community in general. And it's been really inspiring. And to see you in high spirits, honestly, is very encouraging. But I think, hopefully at this point we can get this message loud enough and get people, rallied around the cause enough in order to have you not spend a single night in jail, because I think that would be a huge injustice, to say the very least. So, I mean, whatever we can all do to help at least spread the message and hopefully get it to the right ears, I think, I'm here to do. And I mean, Cedric and everybody else here on here, and we listed off a lot of the women in Bitcoin already. All you guys helping elevate this message. Let's hope we can continue to do that and get it to the right people for sure.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
I just want to say to Seb and Larry, you kind of touched on something I think that's important. Larry, you mentioned that my rhetoric. Yeah, I haven't even made my point yet.
We got someone scan the QR
code. That my rhetoric may have contributed to this. I think that's true to an extent, right? I mean, I was and am brash and on Twitter and make my opinion known, even if it's popular or unpopular. And I think that's a good thing. Everything I said, I meant, and it was authentic, or I was making a joke, which there was plenty of those as well. And I don't regret any of that. But it's also not the only reason, right? I think it just made their lives a little easier, right? They could take a tweet that I said, welcoming Russian oligarchs, and really twist that out and squeeze out all the context. And, you get some droll prosecutor standing up and reading it in a dull voice with no inflection, and it sounds kind of bad. But that, when you look at someone like Roman Storm, who created Tornado Cash, he didn't do any of that. He didn't have any brash tweets. He didn't have things like that to take out of context. He was pretty clean cut, and they still went after him. So I think really what it comes down to is, if you build something that that works for one and gets a lot of use, and you fall into their cross sites, they're coming for you. If they want to take you down, they are going to take you down no matter what. So the fact that I had those tweets just made it easier for them. But it wasn't because of the tweets. I don't think. Maybe it was.
I would
don't
agree
think
with
so.
you, and I compliment you for those tweets. I mean, if tweets can get you thrown in jail, I'm right on the edge. Okay, so I'll see you. I'll see you there.
Yeah, you know,
I'll see you there if we
they'll
don't
squeeze
get
it.
pardoned. I mean,
You know,
look, I mean, to call if people are evil liars, which basically a lot of the government is, these people are evil criminal liars, and we call them such, and they take offense to it and decide to jail us. Well, fuck them. I mean, that's America, right? We've got the ability to call things as we see them. Now they can disagree with us, but they can't use lawfare to throw us in jail over it. And don't interpret my comments as in any way meaning I think you should
No,
your
I
rhetoric,
didn't.
because I loved your rhetoric.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I think they use that at the margin to say, oh, look at this. We really got a guy, we can nail him both ways here. He not only is doing something that makes our life more difficult, which, your thing does, as does Roman's thing, but he's also saying he's clearly on the other side of the fence. And so let's go get him.
We've seen, this is what the president went through. It's the same playbook.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And, they made a big song and dance about the Russian oligarchs and this and that, but they really made a big song and dance when I called members of Congress sickos, quote unquote sickos, for inventing the crime of money laundering in the late 70s. And what I said was factually accurate. They did invent a new crime. That was not a crime prior to Congress saying it's a crime. And then they invented a new crime called structuring when they realized that people were getting around the new crime by transacting just under $10,000. So they had to make that a crime. And I called them sickos. And boy, did they make a song and dance about that in the courtroom. And even the judge had something to say about that. But I stand by it. You're inventing crimes. You're a sicko. There's no victim in this
There's
crime.
legislation right now that's, we'll see if it passes or not, to ban congressional insider trading. So, it all just sounds, it's just so transparent and one-sided.
But they do take your tweets and they will twist and turn them and make your tweets criminal intent, which I guess is a cap in my feather. I have criminal tweets.
Hey, Keone, by the way, is that
Yes,
the
sir.
correct way to pronounce your name, Keone?
It is.
Okay, because I heard people call you Keone. I'm like, man, maybe I'm calling them the wrong thing.
No.
Yeah, I kind of, the first night we talked, I really wanted to highlight the fact that this was the SDNY. And I got to imagine that the president, has some measure of revenge he wants to exact on these people who tried to destroy his life. And that's why I brought it up in my rant there. But, dude, I just want to say, I'm going to go be a good dad now. My son's out there trying out for a lacrosse team. But, if you do have to go in for a little bit, don't just know that we got your back. We'll find out where you are. We'll make sure you're taken care of. I'll pull any strings that I could possibly pull. Not that I have that many, but being loud and making sure that you're taken care of. We got you. And the one message we wanted to send is that we are not to be trifled with in the Bitcoin community. I think we proved that we will exact some measure of political or other kind of price if you try to come after one of ours. And dude, I'm really impressed with you. When you're out, whatever you're doing next, I want to be a part of that if that's an opportunity. And I'm just super impressed by you, your demeanor, how you're handling this. You're a soldier, buddy, and I'd be in a foxhole with you anytime. So
Thank you very much.
really a
Thank you for
pleasure.
everything you've done.
Yeah, guys, I'll be listening in. I'm sure there's other people. I think Marty Bent's waiting and stuff. So thank you guys, and I'm listening in, but thanks.
Thank you, Punch. Hey, Sid, maybe that's the time for should we sort of shuffle and I can drop? I know there's a lot of other people. Or what did you want to do?
Yeah, let's shuffle a few around just so that we can get some new blood in. But
yeah.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, let me just say one thing before I drop as well. Let me sing the praises of Puncher, who just dropped. He, I think, is an incredible person. Just leave it at that. No context needed. Just an incredible person, right? And I think there's so many incredible humans that are coming around this. And the reason is that this is deeper than Bitcoin, deeper than Keone, deeper than me, deeper than any of us on this stage. And we all feel it. And it's really about our rights, our personal human rights. So thank you, everybody. Keone, love you, buddy. You and I are in touch, and yeah, just proud of you. So we'll talk soon.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Thank you for all your help.
I just wanted to add one more quick little thing, which was, I can't imagine the situation you're in right now. And I'm sure when you're in this situation, sometimes you can question yourself and whether or not, should I have shown up differently? Should I have done something differently? And I think that more than anything, what this highlights is this has got nothing to do with you. I think that you've been in the crosshairs of a system that doesn't tolerate people trying to promote privacy. And I think that the way I write about and the way that I view money is a medium of expression. It's how we express to the world what we value. The system does not like money flowing to where value is being created. They want to be able to govern those trajectories. And anytime someone opens up tools for money to flow to where value is being created, all of a sudden the antibodies come out. And I think that you've just been caught in that crossfire. And so I hope more than anything, you're not taking too much, retrospective thought on your actions and how you could have done things differently, because I think this has got nothing to do with you, and what you're doing for the community is very much needed.
Well said.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I thought a lot about this, if I regret anything or if I would have done something differently. And I've come to the conclusion that no, I don't have a single regret. I'm proud of what I've built. I'm proud of the legacy I'll leave. And that, like you said, it's I could have been completely different, the most meek and mild and anonymous person. And had I built what I built, they would have still come after it. Because you're absolutely right. Freedom of speech. Transacting is one of the purest forms of speech, as far as I can see it. And they have spent decades slowly chipping away at the basic fundamental privacy that we have enjoyed throughout history when it comes to our finances. They have now inserted themselves deep into our financial lives. They want to know every transaction we're making, where we're spending it, are we paying tax on it, what is it you're buying, why are you buying it, who are you donating to, all of that. And they have slowly been successful in inserting themselves into that part of our lives. And when all we did was create software that took back a little bit of that sovereignty that we once had. And this was the reaction we got out of it. So I think it's an apt analogy to the antibodies being activated, the antibodies of the state being activated against the software that they really didn't like. So yeah, thank you for that comment. I think you're absolutely right.
Thanks, Keone.
I'm gonna jump out too to help with the changing of the guard. I just want to reiterate, we all support you. And we're praying so hard, and that we can see something happen before Friday, and that President Trump he's so generous. What he told me when I asked for Ross Ulbricht's freedom is he said, "I love freeing people." So just keep that in your mind and don't give up hope. And for the people out there, if you want to support, don't hesitate. Never hesitate if you're thinking about helping someone out and you feel spiritually or morally convicted. Like, listen to that voice, jump in, because you have an opportunity to change the world. So yeah, everybody please sign the petitions, pay attention to all the Bitcoin prisoners. And whether you're praying on your knees or silently in your head, you're not sure if God's real, whatever, just ask the president, ask the Lord. We got to ask the community, because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So
Thanks,
good night, everyone.
Right on. Thanks, Angela.
Thank you so much for joining us and getting out the word. Marty Bent, thank you for joining us. And actually, thank you so much for being one of the first big interviewers of Keone. You guys I listened to the interview, and it seemed like, you had done so many episodes before bringing him on to talk directly, but you guys had done content before. What does this mean to you, and what kind of love and support do you have for Keone tonight?
Number one, thanks for having me, Cedric. I mean, it's hard to describe. I mean, not only have I been a long time user and supporter of Samurai, while Matt and I talked about it at during RHR almost weekly when you guys were building out the product over the course of 6 years that we were doing the show before a couple of years ago. But not only that, I mean, 1031 we were investors in Samurai Wallet, so we saw it as an incredible, useful tool in business that is necessary. And that's one thing I think about with this case, particularly, is the sort of a chilling effect that it has for people who want to leverage the native technology that is Bitcoin, the protocol, to build unique banking and payments infrastructure outside of the purview of the incumbent banking system. And I think it's extremely disheartening that we're at this point, but I am optimistic that that this wrong will be righted. No, that's what I mean. I think Keone, we've known each other for quite a while now, and I think but I want to express to everybody else that I think these were the true cypherpunks. Like I have the Wired magazine issue from the PGP wars back in the 90s, and I think this is very analogous to what was going on back then. I think it's safe to say that this privacy war that we're having with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is our version of the PGP wars. And these cypherpunks on the cover behind me were successful in their battle, and I think we'll be successful too. It's just going to come with a fight.
If you were to, I can't imagine this standing, and I'm optimistic, but if this were to stand, Marty, what kind of trajectory does this put Bitcoin and privacy on?
Not a great one if the chilling effect is successful. And I was thinking about this. I'm actually putting my interview out. I want to ask Keone a question. Like I've been saying this, and I think there's a case to be made for exchanges to implement something like PayJoin because it's just simply efficient transaction batching technology that just so happens to make the ability to track UTXOs a bit harder for people using common input heuristics.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, I would hope.
I don't want to go deep into a transaction analysis heuristic discussion because that will bore the pants off of everyone. But I agree, Marty. I think that would be a pretty simple win for destroying the common input ownership heuristic, which is one of the primary heuristics that chain analysis and chain surveillance firms still use to this day. And it's not a very reliable heuristic, and it's certainly shouldn't be being used as evidence in court cases, which it is. But the more we can undermine that heuristic, the better. And that's what Samurai Wallet really was all about: undermining heuristics, introducing doubt to a public ledger. And that's what makes it even more ludicrous that the DOJ went this route, because that's what we're talking about here, right? We're not talking about a company that took custody of anyone's funds and did things with it. We're talking about a software product that used math to introduce doubt to the blockchain. And that's what the DOJ has said is a financial service. And that's what the DOJ said should have applied for a money transmitter's license, even though the regulator in charge of money transmission said that's not necessary.
Bob, as you know, there's been some talk that this might lead to money transmission being required from miners. What are your thoughts on this? And love to hear your thoughts for Keone.
Yeah, first, Keone, I don't think we've ever met. Bob Burnett.
Hi, nice to meet you.
From Barefoot Mining, also on the board of directors at Ocean. And it's first, I thought, for those who weren't at the very beginning, I was here when you first came on. I thought you gave some really good advice. I'd encourage people to rewind, where you talked about what people can do to protect themselves. That said, I do want to say I think it's important as well that not that people go to prison or go through what you've gone through, but I think it's important for some of the community to be out there. Like some people have to be real. I think there's something to be said for that. And Larry, who was on earlier, Larry's a real good friend of mine. And I think one of the things that we can do as older members of the community, get into your 60s or so, your kids are grown, you have a little less to lose maybe. And so I think it's maybe a little easier for some of us to be front and center to what's going on. And to be honest, I've had this conversation with my wife, like, as a miner, and I'm both a miner and a guy with tentacles into a pool too. And I look at it and go, well, if they can come after Keone, there's really no reason they can't come after me, because I'm, especially as a guy who creates his own templates and makes transaction selections. But I'm not asking for this, but I would say I'm doing something that's probably closer to the line than anything that you ever did. And I think it's just an absolute travesty that you're taking this. I would, like I said, I'm not wishing it upon myself, but I wish they would have come after me or somebody like me instead of you, because I think it would have tested it better. But it's just such bullshit. But I do think we have to be prepared. Thank God Trump won, because I could see where the Biden administration was rearing up. Like they were absolutely rearing up to come after the mining community. In fact, I remember I was in a room in Texas about 2 years ago, and we had a little meeting with mining CEOs, and Ted Cruz came into the room to meet with us. There was maybe like 7, 8 of us, and he as he walked in the room, he's taken off his sport coat. And before he even sits down, he says, "Hey, before I say anything, guys, I just want you to know that of all the people in the US, the Biden administration hates you guys more than anybody." Like it was like, wow, okay. Not surprised, but very, very telling.
Yeah,
So
they were open about it. They were very open about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
at one point they wanted to get a sort of minute list of the energy source, who you were buying it from, how much you were spending on it, what the cost was, and I mean, they wanted to KYC your energy at that point.
Yeah,
I think that they wanted to
those
extend that
surveys
to
went
block
out.
templates.
Yeah, those surveys went out, and I think it was Warren and Granholm, who were Secretary Granholm from the Department of Energy, and they were just in such obvious cahoots trying to make that whole thing happen. It was just ridiculous.
Marty, I'd love to ask you. I mean, actually, people, please scan the QR code, sign a petition. Marty, does this case kind of affect you, maybe as a father, or like thinking about your kids? I mean, my son's 13 years old. He loves to code. I'm trying to explain this case to him. It brings in politics. It brings in computer science. But for me, I think about sort of their freedom and sort of that. Does this affect you as a father, thinking about your kids?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, my kids are a bit younger, but my oldest, he's almost 6, so he's getting to the point where he can read and do math and understands things and is curious and is exploring his curiosity. And I look at him and the other 2 boys and think, what world are you going to live in? And I mean, the oldest too, he does chores for Bitcoin, and he has an eCash wallet which uses blinded signatures and is private digital cash. I guess he'll be looked at as a criminal as a 5-year-old getting 5,000 sats every time he cleans his room. I think it is crazy to think that an app that my 5-year-old uses and gets a lot of value out and is learning a lot about Bitcoin using it could be viewed as a criminal app or criminal activity in the eyes of the law, which is objectively insane. But it's funny. I think you have to like highlight these examples, and it's Bitcoin is just simply a technology be leveraged by anyone. And I think we're at a point in time where we really need to get over the hill of this sort of negative connotation of using Bitcoin, particularly using it in a specific way, or certain wallets like Samourai or an eCash wallet that give you privacy, and being looked at as a criminal. It's just objectively insane. Like I was saying earlier, we have the primitives to build out a new banking and payment system that is completely separate from the incumbent system, which is archaic. And that's an incredible potential. I mean, we have two paths we can go down. We can cuck the world and try to corral Bitcoin into this hyper centralized surveilled system, or we literally have the ability to build a sci-fi banking system from scratch. And when I look at my boys, it's like I hope they're able to live in the latter reality, and they're able to help contribute to that.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, one of the things I think becomes very apparent, hopefully to all those Bitcoiners out there, is that I think the classic mantra for Bitcoiners is we're taking control of the money printer, right? We're shutting off the money printer. But that actually may well be secondary to the use of the monetary system as a means of control and as a weapon. And because that's actually probably the more powerful thing, in my opinion. And so when we threaten that, I think it's why Keone's where he is today, because that is being threatened, and that is the ultimate scare, especially to the deep state, to the bureaucrats, to the to the inherent meat of the system. And by the way, we're just talking about what's happening in the U.S. As we look at the ECB and some of those other organizations, I think there's going to be very similar retaliatory defensive actions on their part as they're threatened.
And
Yeah,
it's
it
rules
might
for
be.
the
It might even be worse. Yeah.
yeah, and it's rules for thee, not for me, all over the place. The people really bringing the hammer down are some of the most egregious offenders of these things that they deem to be bad.
And it's one of the things that is so disgusting about this case to me is that they used such violent force to make a point with you. And in the face of that, how is your family handling this, or how are you and your wife, and how is that all going? Is it something that you can talk about or want to share?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was traumatic, right? Like it was 5 a.m. on April 24th. Had no idea this was coming, and suddenly you're being swarmed by 50 highly armed FBI agents. You're looking at your wife, who has laser sights pointed at her chest. And we're talking about a white collar crime that I'm not even guilty of, but it's a white collar crime. There's no victim. There's no history of violence. I've never been arrested before. I've never had any interaction with law enforcement. They had been surveilling me for weeks. They knew there was no risk of violence. They knew that all they had to do was call my lawyer, who is public and known, and say, hey, we think your client is breaking the law, let's talk, or have him surrender himself, or something along those lines. And that would have been fine. There would have been no issue. But they weren't interested in that. They were interested in creating theater and creating a spectacle, right? Because they wanted to put out the press release. They wanted to put it, make a show out of it to dissuade people from doing what we did. And Bob said it perfectly. We were attacking the fundamental source of their power, right? As long as that's how they saw it. And the only way you can respond to that is with overwhelming force. You have to take them out, them being us. So that's what they did. So how we're doing, we're fine. It was stressful and traumatic on the day, but we're okay. I think my dog has, had the worst reaction to it. I think he has a severe case of PTSD now, because he never used to bark at cars driving by, and now he only barks at cars driving by. So besides that, we're fine. It took a little while, but we feel secure in our home, and we're just getting on with it.
I mean, the theater of violence is just absolutely disgusting, and it really proves the point that they're trying to make you look guilty when there's not a real crime. Because if they
absolutely
right, if they, and I'm wondering, I'm hoping that most of the world is seeing through that, and certainly I think Donald Trump will see through that.
Well, they raided him.
as well.
They did
yeah.
not need to raid the former president of the United States. They did not need to send an FBI SWAT team to Mar-a-Lago. Like, he has been through this.
Yeah.
And that's what's, I think, our best bet is that the president has gone through this by the same DOJ, the Biden DOJ, and he's even dealt with this district. So, you know, it's completely unnecessary. It was unnecessary what they did to us. It was unnecessary what they did to him. There's so many parallels that I think, like I was saying earlier, the biggest obstacle was getting this in front of the president. Once it's in front of the president, I think our chances are much better because he can see right through it. He can see the parallels in his own case, and he knows what a weaponized DOJ looks like.
So scan that petition, you guys. Make sure that this gets pushed to the president.
Marty, would you have ever imagined? Well, I like to think that the Bitcoin community has really sort of risen to the occasion and can make some noise. What do you think is sort of the ability of the Bitcoin community to sort of corral energy and bring attention to our issues?
I think it's one of our greatest strengths. I think. I mean, it's talked about quite a bit, like the meme warfare that we're engaged in the digital age. Bitcoiners are pretty good at the information war, and I think we saw this with Ross. Granted, that took many years to get him out of prison, but the community was relentless. And when President Trump was inaugurated the second time, he got his full pardon, and I think we learned a lot of lessons from that. I think Ross getting pardoned was a big oh shit, we can do this if we really put the effort in. I think this time around with Keone and Bill, I think we sort of took the lessons learned from the success we had with Ross's pardon and began to apply that playbook more aggressively. I would argue over the last 2 weeks. I'm astonished at the sort of speed and veracity with which this campaign for you, Keone and Bill, has really taken hold over the last couple of weeks, and it's highly encouraging, particularly considering the state of discourse in the Bitcoin space over the last 2 years, which has been heavily focused on number go up in Bitcoin treasury companies. There were a lot of people, myself included, who were worried that there wasn't enough care, or people were beginning to care less about the sort of cypherpunk distributed sovereign nature of Bitcoin. And I think the last 2 weeks for me personally really been encouraging to know that people actually do care, that the properties that made this protocol work in the first place are worth defending.
Yeah, it has been encouraging to see that. Absolutely. It's something that, you know, I kind of thought as well that was dying out in this space. Kind of normal, you know, more retail comes in. Bitcoin is a huge industry now. It's a lot of new people. So you're going to have some dilution of values, and a little concerning because to me, number will go up, but the value proposition is censorship resistance and peer-to-peer cash, right? To me, that's where the value lies. And if you're not highlighting that or focusing on that, then you're really not cheering the right thing, right? You're cheering number going up, but not why it's going up. And I was, you know, I just didn't know about this community in this way, right? I was with you, Marty. I thought, you know, they don't care, but clearly they do care. Right, we're seeing so many people come out and support Samourai, and many of them had never even heard of Samourai. Right, they didn't cross. We didn't cross their radar, but they heard the story. They heard what went down, and people have an innate ability to know when something isn't right, when something isn't just, when something isn't fair, and they picked up on that, and they recognize that, and I think it's very, very encouraging. I know we have a new person here, but I just wanted to respond to something Bob said a little while ago. So thank you, Bob, for coming. It's nice to meet you. You said that we need people to go on the front lines and push the line. You're absolutely right. That's how we advance as society and as an industry. We need people to push. So if I did that, then I think that's successful. And, you know, and I think you're doing that as well in the mining community and with Ocean. And then the second thing you mentioned is something I think we discussed on Marty's podcast about Bitcoin miners. And you nailed it. You got that absolutely right. If what Samourai Wallet was doing is considered money transmission, according to the Southern District of New York, then it's impossible to really understand how miners aren't money transmitters. If we're using their theory, right? You're literally selecting transactions to be put in a block, which is broadcast to the network. The transactions that Samourai Wallet built, they didn't exist yet until a miner put them into the block, right? They were mere proposals. They were mere suggestions, right? So using the theory, which is wrong, by the way, but using the theory that the DOJ has come up with in this case, everyone's a money transmitter. Miners are a money transmitter. Lightning nodes are money transmitters. Bcash mints are money transmitters. Marty, you said your son might be interacting with an unlawful application. Using this rationale that the DOJ has come up with, they are absolutely using an unlawful application, right? The DOJ said that every single Bitcoin that went through our software was unlawful. Every single, doesn't matter what the source was or whether it was illicit, they used the term unlawful. And the reason they said that every single Satoshi that went through Samourai Wallet was unlawful is their theory stated that we were a money transmitter. And as a money transmitter, we had obligations, KYC and AML, because if you're a money transmitter, you do have those legal obligations. And because we didn't do it KYC or AML, because frankly, no one thought that a non-custodial piece of software had to. But because we didn't do that, every single Satoshi that went through our software was unlawful. So if your child has not been KYC'd and gone through the AML process to receive his 5,000 sats, that's unlawful. And this is the theory that we're working with as per, SDNY. And it's very clear to anyone who's listening, I hope, that it's absurd. It's an absurd situation that they put us into.
And you mentioned it earlier about the insanity of the money laundering laws, the crimes that they created in the 70s and extended in the 90s. And Cedric, to your question about the strength of the community, I think honestly this is something I've been talking about for years. And I think when you and Bill are ultimately pardoned, it's going to be a long haul. And it's not going to be easy, and we're going to be thought of as crazy in the beginning, but we really need to push to repeal the Bank Secrecy Act. All of this stems from that terrible act that was passed in 1970, I think, and it's completely antiquated. It is not is the digital age. It doesn't work in the digital age. It was written in an era in the industrial age, and it was very analog, and it's not evolving with the times. And like you said earlier, it's just creating crimes, compliance cost, and a bunch of data aggregation that actually does more net harm than good at the end of the day. It puts way more people in harm's way by creating these data honeypots that are notoriously have very weak security, are often hacked. The information's taken, sold on the deep web. You have people getting their identities stolen, getting credit cards taken out in their name, getting bank accounts drained, all because all of these services need to collect this data and they don't know how to secure it. And it does not stop the crimes they're claiming that it should be stopping. I think the stat was going around, I think like 5 or 6 years ago, I think KYC AML compliance has stopped something like 0.1% of global money laundering since they've been implemented. And so it's completely ineffective and completely harmful to end consumers at the end of the day. It is a net negative, and we need to just own it. Like, this doesn't work, and we shouldn't have to live this way. I think that should be one of the things that we go after as a community. It's going to be a long haul. It's not going to be easy. We're going to be thought of as crazy, but we should repeal the Bank Secrecy Act.
Yeah. So me saying that opinion and being anti-KYC AML was also used heavily in the courtroom to prove my intent to commit crimes. So the opinion you just espoused there, Marty, could be dangerous, but you're absolutely right. The AML and KYC regime brought about by the Bank Secrecy Act extended in the 90s, extended yet again in the Patriot Act, is not fit for purpose. It doesn't do what they hope it would do. It stops almost no crime. The people who are committing the crimes know how to get around the system, know how to get through the AML and the KYC checks, and continue to commit those crimes. What AML and KYC is very successful at is keeping people out of the financial system, keeping law-abiding citizens who can't pass these checks, who don't have the right documents, who are underdocumented or whatever the case may be, from access to the financial system. And that's what was so powerful about Bitcoin. They didn't need to do that. They could have into a financial system that was quicker, better, more superior, safer than the fiat system or the existing system. And the whole point of Samourai Wallet was to put the brakes on turning Bitcoin into just another tentacle of the existing financial system. And luckily, it hasn't become that yet, but it can, right? I think I talked about it on your podcast, Marty. It's not a divine gift from God that came out perfectly formed, right? That's not what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is software, and it requires software developers. It requires economists. It requires smart people to work on it and protect it from becoming a surveillance panopticon. Make it a beacon of human freedom. Absolutely, and let's definitely repeal BSA. I think a lot of people could get on board with that.
Yeah, definitely time. And I'm going to have to bounce, Keone, but I do want to say that I mind block 927-604 a couple days ago. It's there for everybody to see. I've done dozens more over the past year, and if Keone is going to prison, then come get me too, because I'm doing something way worse than he is. If that's the way the law is.
Before that, you wish it was you and not him?
Well, I don't wish it upon anybody.
Well, did you say you wished it was yourself that they came after?
Yeah, I'd be the more obvious target, frankly. Yeah, I'm a lot closer to the line than he is, and so yeah, absolutely.
Well, I hope you're never in this situation, Bob. It's a pleasure meeting you. But if you are in this situation, if you find yourself in this situation, I know you would be a worthy fighter, a worthy opponent.
Well, thank you. God bless you, Keone. We're rooting for you.
Too.
I'll do all I can. Sending a note to Representative Donald right now, who represents my area, to try to help, and we'll see what we can do. But God bless you, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
See you, Bob.
Brandon Gentile, Mr. Hockey, fellow Bitcoin podcaster. How are you?
Great. How are you guys? Keone, good to see you. We haven't met, but just appreciate the fight, and just awesome talk here. And run a pod as well. I've seen you doing the circuit. So we're streaming on a bunch of my channels here as well, just doing everything we can. And I think you guys nailed it. I mean, it's this country, and here in America at least, and all over the world obviously, but also Bitcoiners are getting a wake up call, right? That politics is a mirror of culture, and for too long, too many have been silent, and an evil exists because good people stand idly by and do nothing. And we just need to know, that's why I think things like this are so important, because not that bad things aren't going to happen in life, but look at, Bitcoiners turn out and things happen when we know what's going on, and you see the ramifications or the importance of it. And you see so many people that say, Bitcoin won't work because government's going to shut it down, or this and that and the other thing, right? And you see the mentality that most people have, that we've been brainwashed for so long, to just tamed like sheep. Politics is downstream from culture, so it's dependent on a few people. Revolutionary War was a few % of people that grabbed the musket. Here we're proverbially doing it, but they said, yeah, no, F off, we're not doing this anymore. And so it's the irate minority can make a massive impact. So I think this is just another great example. It sucks we have to keep doing stuff like this, it's Ross or this or whatever, but at some point the tide shifts. So just you want to say thank you again, Keone, what you guys are doing for privacy and freedom. And like what Marty said too, I have 4 little ones. You think about the world they're going to grow up in, all of our kids, our children, and you're just kind of beside yourself. You see the things happening in the world, and you're just like, wow, like these incentives are so broken, so backwards. Again, it's not going to be some utopia because of Bitcoin, but we are wildly off the tracks, and the people here are the ones fighting to bring it back on the track somehow. So again, just my hats off to you and what you're doing, brother. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much, and it's nice to meet you. And if you sent me a message asking me to do your podcast and I didn't respond, I'm sorry. I had so many coming in. I may not have seen it.
No, I never actually did. I've been posting a lot doing stuff because there were so many every day I was seeing. I mean, Marty, did it. Cedric did it. I mean, I just want everyone was doing it. So I was like, hey, I'm going to do some other things, some other ways, to try to.
That's good with me. Yeah, I was worried. I was thinking, oh man, did I like ghost this guy or leave him on red or what did I do?
No. I knew you were just.
I've had so many come in. I've tried to respond to them all, but I may have missed a couple. So if I didn't respond to anyone, I'm sorry. But I've been doing my best to get on these. I think 9 hours of pure recording straight last week on a single day, which is a lot, which is a lot to do. But yeah, no, I appreciate that greatly, man. Thank you very much. We didn't do this to be martyrs. We didn't do this to go to jail. We did this because we wanted to build software that we thought Bitcoin deserved and that we wanted to use ourselves. It just so happens, we caught the attention of the wrong type of people, DOJ, and they came down on us. And, it's a beautiful thing now that so many people in the community are seeing what's going on, right? I spent over a year not being able to speak and not being able to tell people my side of the story, right? They only had one side of the story. I had to listen to, 50 different prosecutors tell their side of the story about my life. And it's tough to not be able to say anything about it. Now I can, sentencing is done. I can speak, and I've been speaking. And I think that's really what people needed. They needed to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And they need to, because they heard, again, one side, and the government side is, I've called an indictment government fan fiction, because that's really what it is. They come up with these theories and try to stretch everything the truth to fit their purposes. But people needed to hear my side and decide for themselves. Do they think I'm telling the truth or not? It's the court of public opinion now. That's where we're at. And I think that's a battle that we're largely being successful at. So I appreciate your words. Thank you very much.
And if I can hop in here, I think it's important to highlight too, Keone, that you really valued your privacy, and outside of your Twitter account weren't really in the public limelight. So it's actually been shocking to see you on so many shows personally over the last week. And so you've had something stripped from you, which is you try to stay out of the public limelight as you were building out Samourai. Now you've sort of been forced into it, and that's been part of you has been corrupted in a way.
It's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to keep my identity as Keone separate from Samourai Wallet. When we built it, we wanted Samourai Wallet to stand on its own reputation, not use my reputation or Bill's reputation, right? We both were in the wallet space for a long time already. We both had somewhat of a reputation in Bitcoin, but we felt Samourai Wallet should develop and build its own image. So yeah, I did so many interviews over the 10 years of operating Samourai Wallet, not one on camera, not one using my name as Keone. And to be on all of these podcasts now is certainly strange. But the government took it all away, right? They published who I am, my name. They made my address publicly available, which I wasn't very appreciative of, but they did. And so, you're just living with that now. And it's okay. I can swallow that and say, okay, now I am the public face of Samourai, right? Now the identities are connected. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to tell the story. And I think it's been largely successful in getting that story out there and having people connect to it. I think I don't want to sound arrogant saying this, But I think people connect to the story because it's the truth, and people can identify the truth, right? If I'm sitting on here doing 8 hours a day of podcasts, speaking lies to them, they're going to figure it out pretty quickly. But because it's the truth that I am speaking, quite honestly, they pick up on that and they're drawn to it, and they realize that this is a serious thing. That what they had heard before from the government side of things really isn't adding up, right? Like, oh, he created this criminal empire to launder funds, but it took like 5 years of development to actually produce the piece of software that was the main element of the criminal activity. Like, why? Why, if I was a criminal, would I spend 5 years building out a non-custodial coin join? Why wouldn't I just make a custodial mixer like everyone else did? Right? Like, so these little things that just don't add up in the government's accounting of events, which can be explained by, oh, wait, maybe he wasn't doing it to facilitate crime. Maybe he actually cares about privacy and cares about self-custody. And, you know, so I think that's the reason why people are hearing the message and it's resonating with them.
Yeah. Before we get to maybe some new blood, Shannon's here, and some mystery person or robot. Marty, do you feel a sense of responsibility? Do you feel like a freedom fighter as a podcaster, and the ability to kind of surface voices like this at your level, and a sort of sense of responsibility? Or are we in the proverbial salon here of a revolution, and this is where the ideas are being sort of hashed out and causes are being supported?
I try not to think about it too much. Really, like, I mean, the podcast and the newsletter for the last 8 years, it's really just been, hey, here's what I'm interested in Bitcoin. Here's what I think is the right, are the right tools to use. Here's what I value, and if you like that, I'm going to write about it and talk about it. And I think it's attracted a lot of like-minded individuals and converted people who maybe didn't think that way in the past. And, responsibility, yeah, I guess now that the audience is bigger, I do, but I don't think much has changed. I think it's the same goal and the same mentality I bring to it day in and day out. Like, again, like I truly think that we have the ability to rebuild the monetary system, the banking system, the payment system on top of Bitcoin. I think that's an incredible opportunity, and I think we should go after it full bore, because it is incredibly liberating for humanity at a time when we're losing our civil liberties left and right. So it's a fighting chance to preserve our inalienable rights as we continue to transition into the digital age. So I guess to your question, I feel responsibility. I don't think about it a lot, but I guess now that you're forcing me to think about it, I do think it's responsible to advocate for this stuff. Particularly, the responsibility I have is for my wife and my children. Really, at the end of the day, be a good example for them, and hopefully it resonates with people, and people recognize that this is a liberating technology, and we should be leading into it. It's not a bad thing. It's actually an incredibly beautiful and fabulous thing that Bitcoin exists. I guess my responsibility is help people realize that.
Is this Shannon Fitzgerald?
It is.
Hello. Something that struck me as really important to surface, and knock on wood, Keone and Bill spend little to no time behind bars. But in the event that they do, it's really important that we keep the story alive. It's incumbent upon all of us to be active on social media. My background is social content strategy, digital media strategy. You do not have to have a huge following to make a difference. Just be consistent. Spend 10 or 15 minutes a day. Get it. Find pockets of conversation that's happening in the culture. It could be a reporter who you see, that they're talking about something that could be related, that this could be a point of interest for them. Get in the comments. Start trying to create a two-way conversation. Commenting is content. You don't have to post videos or graphics right? Just get in there and be active. Start siphoning out, social equity in the conversations that are happening organically. Keep the story alive. Use Pardon Samurai hashtag just to keep things consistent. There's a lot you can do, even if you have 15 followers, because the quality of those followers are probably people they trust you. Share your thoughts, your quotes that you like that Keone has said. Retweet articles. Make your own graphics. AI has a wide variety of tools that make this so easy. But keep the story alive. It's up to us to keep this going. This is the hard part now, is going to be sustaining it, because right now there's a ticking clock, a sense of urgency, because Keone reports to jail Friday, Bill follows in January. But we may have to really keep this alive. So everybody can do something. You have more power than you think. So go at it. And also,
Thank
Brandon, I'm
you,
a fellow
Brittany.
hockey player, so if you ever want a game of shinny and you're in LA, let me know.
Canadian Bitcoin Conference. You got to come. USA versus Canada.
I was there.
Yeah, Cedric was there.
Brandon was skating circles around people. we got Parker A. Lewis here in Maryland Huddle. Parker, what's up? Thank you for joining us.
Hey guys, Keone, we have never met, but our company co-signed the letter that you, as part of Samourai and 1031, put together, I think at the beginning of beginning of 2024. And yeah, just wanted to join and voice my support. I've read the exact same guidance from FinCEN that I know that you guys have read, and it was crystal clear, not just from the guidance, but also from the private letter rulings that FinCEN had issued. And while our business as Zappright's very different than what you guys were building at Samourai, we write software, we take in XPubs, we facilitate transactions, but we're never in possession of funds. And if not just the government, but some prosecutors wanted to decide that we were operating an unlicensed money transmitter business, it would be the identical case. And that it's important for people to speak up in support of you guys, because I heard Larry on earlier. I was watching of just, there's not a case, and it's basically making up law based on lawyers wanting to make examples of people and to set precedent, and that's not what our country's about. So just wanted to join and voice my support, and everybody that works on the team supports you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Parker. I appreciate that. I'm glad you brought up the letter. For the people who don't know, I think it was February of 2024. Samourai Wallet authored, with the help of a pretty deep legal team, a letter to FinCEN responding to some proposed rules that they were trying to come up with. And we thought that the rules went too far and would impact end users quite negatively. So we put together a letter putting our legal position forward, and many Bitcoin-based companies signed on to this letter. 1031, which Marty is representing their hat right now, they shared out this letter with their portfolio companies and other companies, and a lot of people signed on to this letter, and we submitted it to FinCEN. So I had just finished talking about the little inconsistencies in the government's theory and storytelling, that the only reason that we created Samourai Wallet was to facilitate crime and money laundering right from the get-go, right from the beginning. This was their theory. And how I was saying that there's just these little inconsistencies there. So I think one of the inconsistencies is, if we were setting up a illegal money laundering business, why in the world would we engage proactively with the Financial Crime Enforcement Network, right? The regulator in charge of combating illicit finance, if our whole goal was illicit finance. So these things just don't make any sense. That's not the actions that a criminal organization takes. They don't engage the regulator. So thank you. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Parker. And also, you're right. Any business, literally any software business that the DOJ or rogue prosecutor wants to target, can be targeted using the theories that they put forward in this case, the novel theories that they put forward in this case. So if you're doing something that remotely threatens power, they're going to come down on you like they did with us. So it's important to build up that immune system, to build that response up, so that if and when this happens to the next group of software developers or the next miners or the Lightning nodes or the eCash mints, we're here to start the response much earlier than the response has been started in our case, right? We're immediately on them, and they know that they're not going to be getting away with this in the shadows. And I think that's really the takeaway that we need to have, that next time this happens, the community activates and goes all out in defense of our software developers, because it's so important, and our builders and our companies, because it's so important.
Yeah, I wish I could find it, but I just remember when I did my review of all of that, basically the statutes, the FinCEN guidance, the various different guidance from FinCEN and the private letter rulings, but it's expressly clear that you had to be in control of funds. That the definition of money transmission required possession of funds and transmission, and that in the private letter rulings they would a company would have a question and they'd say this either was or wasn't, and there was one instance where they said, hey, you're actually not in possession, so therefore you're not a money transmitter. And private keys are sacred in Bitcoin. That is control. And if it's like, if you want to write a new law, that's Congress write a new law. Exactly. And make it very clear what businesses that look a certain way, how they are to be treated. And if there's a gap in that, using novel theories to just make examples from what the DOJ wishes there to be an actual law in place, the absence of it is not okay to then just prosecute. And I know a lot of people in the Bitcoin world have read those same things, and it creates a lot of uncertainty. It creates uncertainty for everybody. And so it's not only that we need clarity, but in this case, you had clarity, people had clarity. And so it's a grave injustice.
Well, I'll open this up to everybody, anybody on the panel, but I mean, this really proves the point, right? That the money transmission regulations and statutes, it's all so clear. But this case, even though that was the plea, was really about the privacy issues associated with your transactions. And so what does that really say about the state of Bitcoin going forward and the state of development and the creation of privacy tools? And it seems to me that that's where we're really stepping on toes, and that's where the true issues are lying. How do you guys feel about that?
So I just want to finish. I just want to say one thing in response to Parker, and then I'll let everyone else talk. I have been talking a lot. But again, you're absolutely right on the clarity of FinCEN guidance, 2013, 2019, private letter guidance. Like it's so clear. No one thought that money transmission applied unless you took custody, right? That was the de facto understanding in the community since at least 2013. And in fact, again, I'm glad you brought this up. In fact, I don't know how familiar you are with the details of our case, but the government, the prosecutors in our case, 6 months before indictment, went to FinCEN and asked FinCEN explicitly, are Samourai wallet money transmitters? And FinCEN responded explicitly to our prosecutors, no, they don't take custody.
I thought I had seen that. I wasn't 100. That was my memory, but I wasn't as confident in it to say it.
Because it's nonsensical, right? That's why it's hard to believe, because it's nonsensical. But
yeah. So they had it crystal clear from FinCEN that we were not required to have a license because we were not money transmitters. The government then indicted us with one of the charges being unlicensed money transmission. Then they held that evidence that letter that they got from FinCEN, they hid that from us for over a year while we were in the pretrial phase. So, you know, you're absolutely right. It was clear. It was crystal clear from FinCEN, right? There was no question about it. The government knew, the prosecutor knew, and it didn't matter, right? They came after anyway, these novel new theories. And again, you hit the nail on the head. If they want to change the law, it has to come through Congress. If the legislature wants to make non-custodial software money transmitters, then write a law, get it passed, get it signed by the president. But that's not what they did here.
Right, because then if
So
they did that, then you could challenge that in court, right?
It's right. Right.
The
It's
absence
absolutely
of it,
right.
you can't.
Yeah, then it becomes a legal battle of what does control mean,
Or
and
just
what
like, is it
does custody
constitutional?
mean.
If it was, you know, like,
Right.
then we could have the First Amendment debate.
Yeah, absolutely right. So sorry for hijacking the answer to that question, but I wanted to get that out there because I thought it was important for the listeners and you
I
guys
mean,
to know that
you,
fact.
you set up the question perfectly. I mean, that's that is what you had to plead to, but what really seems to be happening here is the fact that private transactions are under attack, and the privacy and the ability to censor is under, you know, the creation of censorship is their agenda, right? So what do you guys think about that? I mean, this is something that Bitcoin has stood for a long time, that this is uncensorable money. This is unstoppable money. But if they're willing to go to this extent, where does that put us today?
Well, we got Maryland Hollow jumped in.
Yeah.
Nathan also jumped in. But Maryland Hollow, you want to share some words, maybe some thoughts on the question, and just or some love and support for Keone?
Sure. I'll start with Keone. My heart goes out to you and your family. So sorry you're in this position. My framing around all this is the systems that are set up for TradFi aren't sophisticated enough to basically work with the system and the ecosystem that's developing now with Bitcoin and its ecosystem. So ultimately, they're using you as an example, and it's a show of force. It's a grave injustice that's happening right now. It started with the Biden administration, and it's continued with the Trump administration. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be very telling whether Trump actually gives the pardon or not, as to where the direction of the country is going to be from a privacy perspective. And, you know, I think my hat's off to everybody that's been participating and sharing the message. I do it more quietly just through kind of X, but been monitoring it basically for months now. And, you know, I have a lot of hope and thought that Trump's going to pull through on this. But if he doesn't, I think we're in a very tough situation going forward, because ultimately what I believe is going to end up happening is the state is ultimately out to control and squash Bitcoin. I can't see it any other way outside of that. But, you know, I think hopefully in the coming weeks, we're going to have clear direction as to a positive stance on that. So until that point comes, you know, my prayers are with you and your family.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate that greatly. The only thing I'll say to that is I don't think the state has any interest in destroying and squashing Bitcoin. I think the interest lies in capture. So I think they have a great interest in capturing Bitcoin, which is one and the same thing as destroying it, at least to me, right? If it becomes captured, then it's really not all that interesting. And that's why what we're building is so important, right? Focusing on the privacy to support censorship resistance, to keep Bitcoin decentralized through a variety of distributed miners, to build up the core tenet of non-custody, of self-custody, of reducing trusted third parties, These are all core Bitcoin tenants that are required to help prevent a state capture of the network. And if we give up on those tenants, the state will capture the network. And that's really bad, especially with lack of privacy, because Bitcoin is so transparent. It gives the state way more insight into the movement of funds, into your financial picture than even the fiat system. So it's essential that we focus on these
And
things.
I do have one question for you. Is what is the moat basically that keeps the stuff that you were working on from a kid in a basement from around the world somewhere figuring it out over a period of time, or if AI advances enough and a coder has enough wherewithal to developing a decentralized version of what you guys were ultimately about ready to put out? Because I think that's ultimately what the threat was. But I mean,
yeah,
I can't imagine we're more than a couple years away from things like this ultimately being out and produced at, you know, a high velocity. And if that's the case, you know, decentralization is always going to win. You're not going to be able to beat this, especially if we start getting more decentralized AI so that they can essentially control, you know, what we're using AI for. I just, they're fighting a battle they can't win, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so, but then it also becomes like a cultural battle. So if the culture broadly doesn't care and has that concept of, well, I have nothing to hide, so why do I need privacy? If that's like a cultural norm throughout Bitcoin, then we won't move fast enough. It really won't matter. But I don't think that we're there yet. And as a pure response to your question, we were way closer than a year or two away from decentralizing our tool. The main tool we built that the government had the biggest issue with was our CoinJoin implementation called Whirlpool. We were like 4 months away from decentralizing that, where where our one single point of failure was a single server that we ran that handled the anonymous communication between different clients, right? It passed messages. It couldn't read the messages, but it sent them out. We're literally months away from making every Bitcoin node that ran our software a coordinator server. There would have been thousands of them in the blink of an eye. And I truly believe that the government brought up the raid that they ended up doing on April 24th from what would have probably been later to April 24th because they did not want us to get to that state where Whirlpool became decentralized. So we were close. What the good thing about that is our code is still out there. People made copies of our code base. It was always open source. So that code, all that work that we put into decentralizing Whirlpool still exists, and it's not going away. So someone will do it at some point, I imagine.
Maybe Nate Dogg.
Hello, gentlemen. It's good to see you again, Keone.
Hey, man.
It's interesting times. I've been listening to the stream while getting the kids down, and I appreciate what everybody's doing here. I think it's really important work. And there was something that really stood out to me. I think we kind of touched on a bit earlier. I think maybe it was Seb that brought it up, but it's amazing to me that in all this, the guys from Samourai have given us yet another gift, right? Beyond the privacy tech. Over the last year, Bitcoiners have basically been at each other's throats, and all of a sudden everybody is rallying together, focused on mission, focused on brand. We know what's really important and we're pushing behind it. And it's absolutely beautiful and wonderful to see. And I think it means a lot to everybody what you've done and what's happening to you. And I think it's really important. So I kind of want to take a little bit of a moment here just to pivot, if I may, just ever so slightly. Everything that everyone's been talking about is incredibly important, but we've got a large audience here. I was just taking a look. We've got, hundreds of people on X. We got them on YouTube. Everyone's piling in and everyone's showing their support. But Bitcoiners at their best is moments like this. And I think the state made a really, really bad calculation in going after you guys, because by using such excessive force and going to such an extreme, we detected the threat immediately, and now we've started to unify and coalesce behind this mission, and we're not going to stop until we get these guys out. And so what I'd like to do, if everyone's all right, is just put forward as chat. I see you going off there, and if you can hear me, please, let me know there that you're hanging out with us. everyone that's watching this stream right now and everyone that's participating in the stream right now has at the very least already signed the petition. I know that you have. And if you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting on. Stop right now, scan the QR code and go and sign the petition. You have no excuse. It takes no time. It doesn't hurt you at all. But that's only going to get us so far. I saw we got thousands of people. I think last I looked, we're creeping up on 7,500 signatures there. I'm not sure if we've gone past that. We better get past that by the end of the night. Everybody here can be a little bit uncomfortable and do one extra thing for me. There's kind of two avenues I think we should encourage people to go out. One, think of one other person, whether it's like a celebrity, someone on Twitter you like, it's a friend, it's a neighbor. I want everyone watching the stream, and please, if you hear this message, if you acknowledge it, let me know in the chat. I want everyone watching this stream, because right now it's a call to action. We're here to actually try and get something done. This is not a morning. This is a time to actually get to work. So I want everyone watching this right now to reach out to one person at least. One person, right? When I'm done here, I'm going to go bug what's his name? Former VP for the Libertarian Party. Wonderful dude. But he's got You Are the Power is his organization that helps people in these kind of similar situations, usually family related, but still people that are unjustly prosecuted. Or Spike Cohen. I'm going to bug Spike Cohen. So as soon as I'm off this stream, I'm going to be typing a message to Spike Cohen if he hasn't already been involved with this, and encourage him in his libertarian circles to get on board and help out. So I want everybody watching, please go message one person that you can think of, whether it's somebody that you follow, it's a friend, it's a neighbor. Encourage them to check out BillAndKeone.org, sign the petition. We've got to spread this beyond ourselves. The Bitcoiners are here and they've all signed it. We got to go a little bit further. The other one is I just pulled it up and I wanted to check how accurate or how difficult it would be. Super easy. We've all got access to ChatGPT and we've all got access to Grok or one of these large language models. All I did just a second ago was ask this thing, please write me a letter to my congressman. I'm Canadian, so it doesn't know that. Please write me a letter to my congressman in support of the Samourai devs, that what's happening to them is basically unconstitutional. It's a travesty. You guys, at this point in time, it's not that hard. You can copy and paste directly from ChatGPT. You can ask Grok who your representative is and what their email address is and what their contact information is. You can copy and paste this letter, put your name on the end of it, and send it to them. We got this in front of President Trump. He's acknowledged it, which means he's probably been briefed on it at this point in time. I don't want us to feel like, I don't want this to be mourning that the deadline's coming up. If we hit Friday and it's not done yet, I don't want to let off the accelerator. I want everybody here to push as hard as they can. And so that's just kind of the message that I wanted to get out, that now is not the time to slow down. I know it might be uncomfortable to reach out to people. I know we're all kind of shy. We don't know what to write. Use Grok. Have it write a message for you. Start blasting it out. We need to go beyond Bitcoiners. We need to talk to libertarians, to gold bugs, to conservatives, to everybody, because everybody can get on board with this mission. What's happened here is a complete travesty. It's obvious that they've been completely railroaded by the Southern District of New York Court. We can't let up. So please, guys, call to action. Do something. Don't just watch. I know that you've already signed, and that's so helpful. But let's do one more thing.
Cheers. Well said, man.
Well said. Yeah. Cheers.
Well said, Nathan.
Thanks, Nate.
Of course, Dave.
By the way, I signed the petition. I hope everyone else up there did. It's we want our freedoms, right? And it's hard to kind of go onto these websites and do these things. I did it very easy, very fast, very simple. So I recommend it. I'm looking at the page. We're pretty close to 7,500. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, I just want to sort of plus one off of that, Nathan, because, I think it's, and it goes back to the thread in the opening, which was by our brilliant leader here in terms of the samurai warrior, Mr. Keone, said, hey, I want this to be kind of happy, like I don't want this to be like a somber thing. I want this to be we're continuing to boldly do this. And yeah, look, this thing, hopefully we have a chance here. I told Keone, remember we talked on, when did we record? Sunday? And we were like, yeah, look, I don't know the likelihood of the timing of this. And then Monday, less than 24 hours after we had done that second interview, we had Trump talking about it. So look, there's a chance here. But to Nathan, to your point, we're trying to get something done here. So this is actually the time to push as hard as we can possibly push, to celebrate Keone, push hard, and see if we can't get something done by Friday. But that was beautifully said, my friend. So
agreed. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely beautifully said. I just want to piggyback on it just briefly, Nate. Sign the petition on change.org. Change.org is a little sneaky. After you sign it, they ask you to donate, and a lot of people think they're donating to me and Bill. They're not. If you donate on change.org, you're just donating to change.org. So don't do that unless you really like change.org, then I guess do it. If you want to donate to Bill and myself, you'll find the link on billandkeone.org, BILLANDKEONNE.org. There's a Give Send Go link there. That will go 50% to my wife Lauren and 50% to Bill's wife Sabrina. That's if you do want to support us financially, that's the way to do it. Don't donate on change.org. Just want to make that clear because people have been donating to change.org. I think about $15,000 worth of donations have gone to change.org, and they're just a little sneaky. So keep that in mind.
Are you allowed to interact with Bitcoin, Keone?
No, I'm glad you asked that. So part of my bail conditions are that I cannot indirectly or directly send or receive any crypto transaction. So we don't have a way to accept donations for in Bitcoin yet.
If I may, Keone, sorry to interrupt. Ben saw that after our conversation too. I tweeted out, and I'll send it to you as well. Ben did set up a Bitcoin donation page that if anybody can only send Bitcoin. Sessions is collecting Bitcoin. We'll convert that all to fiat and then give it right to the Give Send Go.
Okay, that's awesome. I didn't ask you to do
You
that.
did not.
Though.
There was no affiliation, and we're in Canada, and he's in no way receiving any.
This is the first time I'm hearing of this. So for any prosecutors listening, that was not direct or indirect. It had nothing to do with that. So thank you. Awesome. But yeah, so I just can't do it right now. Once I surrender on Friday and once Bill surrenders, I believe it's January 3rd, we'll try to get crypto or Bitcoin donations available at that point where it's safer and, I won't have a prosecutor saying, oh, he violated bail conditions. There's a new charge. So we just wanted to be on the safe side of that. That's why I only Give Send Go currently.
Can you talk to Bill now?
No, that's also a bail condition. I'm still not allowed to talk to Bill without lawyers present.
Yeah, just so people listening understand, there's bail conditions here. So he's basically waiting now to go serve the trial. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Keone, but that's why we're in this in-between period. And part of those conditions were you can't do anything with Bitcoin. And so he's had to abide by that agreement. And that's why we're sort of waiting now to get to the 19th, see what happens. Hopefully we get the pardon. If we don't get the pardon, then it's like game plan shift, from 19th after, based on the fact that he will be then in, and then we can do some different things. But we can kind of I don't want to get ahead of our, get over our skis. I think right now it's just get the petition signed, continue to show the support, continue to be loud, continue to push. We still have until Friday. It's Tuesday, remember. We just heard from Trump. And so, look, I said publicly when I saw that Trump posted, I was very impressed. Keone, I would love to get your thoughts on this. Like, I was very impressed, very surprised, kind of blown away on Monday. And look, it took Lutz, I think is the name of it. Lutz Sanders. And he said something to Trump, and that's what got it across the board. But I did not expect that to happen. Kind of, you know what I mean? So I think now we're kind of in a different place than we were even 24 hours ago.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. We kind of talked about it right at the top, but again, if the president didn't want to answer that question or didn't care to answer it, he wouldn't have answered it. The fact that he did spend so much time answering it, I think, is a positive sign. Just reiterating what I already said, the president knows about a weaponized Department of Justice. One came after him. So putting that in combination with him now knowing our story, I think our chances are much better than they were a few days ago, right? Like, we're moving along. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think it's still very likely that I'll report to prison on Friday. But I think that the possibility of a pardon is significantly better than it was just the day before yesterday. So I'm optimistic, cautiously.
Gentlemen, I have to bail out. Keone, praying for you, brother.
Hey, thank you, Marty.
Everybody go sign the petition.
Thank you, Marty, for
Thanks,
hopping on the
Marty.
call and everything you're doing. Appreciate it.
Marty.
See you guys.
See you, Marty.
Bye-bye.
All right, Marty's gone. We can get this party started.
Marty's been fantastic. I just want to say, because he's also sort of been, obviously early supporter, early user, early content around this thing, and then came back around during this heightened period, and he's been a big supporter behind the scenes as well. So
yeah, we have a tremendous group behind the scenes who have just been who've been helping so much. I'm very appreciative of all the work that people are doing and donating their time and energy and effort to this cause, which is just truly tremendous. I thank you. I know Bill thanks you. I haven't spoke to him for any prosecutors listening, but Bill's been one of my closest friends for well over a decade. Before this all happened, we spoke to each other every day, hours at a time. I know that he's appreciative of all the help that everyone is donating and putting out there. So, from both of us, I'm confident saying thank you to that. And I've seen some people say, well, don't forget about Bill, and this is all about Keone and not about Bill. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's just the way Bill is. He doesn't like press. He doesn't like getting on camera. He doesn't like talking publicly. Ever since we created Samourai, I was always the one that did press and interviews and podcasts. I was the public voice. Bill was the man behind the throne. Like, he's an essential part to the whole operation. So everything that I'm doing is to raise awareness for me and Bill. We went through this. We built Samourai together. We were indicted together. We fought the case together. We took the deal together, and we will get pardoned together if a pardon is going to happen. So no one's forgetting Bill. I love Bill to death.
When pardon? Sorry.
Ride or die.
Still optimistic that
Ride or
you'll
die.
spend the night in jail, and obviously, it's going to be hard to be separated from your wife. But what has it been like to have the reduced communication with Bill? He's been such a big part of your life and a friend.
Yeah, that was tough. That was absolutely tough. Again, I spoke to Bill hours every day from essentially the moment I woke up. So it was getting used to not having that in your life anymore. It's tough, right? This is a very close friend. So yeah, it's been tough dealing with that. To know he's there, but I'm just not allowed to speak with him without lawyers present. You're talking about a $5,000 to $6,000 an hour conversation if you need to speak with him. We can't do that, right? Like, that's not gonna be something that we can manage. So I'm hopeful that once this is all over, we'll be able to start speaking again. I need to find out the legality of actually inmate to inmate mail. I know it does happen, it's allowed, but you have to get approval. So I'm hopeful that once we're both inside, I'll be able to get approval for that so that we could at least write each other. But who knows?
Can I just hang on that for 1 minute? Because it just takes me back to the inhumane nature of this whole situation. So disgusting that they had found all these different ways to get at you. And this is just another example of, this is your business partner and friend, arguably best friend. I know how it is. I've built things before. When you're in there with a co-founder for 10 years building stuff, that is a very, very close person in your life. That might be the closest person. I don't know how it was for you, but my co-founders, we are close, man. And it's like, to then say, oh, by the way, now you just can't talk to that person. And it's been how long? Almost 2 years of this. So they can just sort of do these things. And it's very tricky because it's pre-trial. So it's like, it's just happening. Like, there's no backstop. There's no way for Keone to fight anything. It just is what it is. And in this case, just one of many, many examples, one of the lawfare tactics is you can no longer talk to your friend. And I just think it's horrible. So I hope you guys get to
not only your friend, but your co-defendant,
yeah,
in the criminal action they're taking against you. It's ridiculous, right? They should have severed the trials if they wanted to have that condition, but no, they wouldn't sever the trials. In fact, they denied the motion to sever the trial, and they still continued the bail condition of not being allowed to speak to my co-defendant in this matter. I don't know why, but that's just what they do. And they have all the power in this situation. You are powerless.
Sorry, my marijuana dealer just joined the show.
What's up, everybody? Pleasure to be here.
What's up with Dax?
Yeah, Keone, I spoke with you, interviewed you. It was a pleasure to have a conversation about the unfortunate events you're going through. And I just wanted to jump on and pay my respect, man, You know, I've spent many years, most of my adult life, doing things the federal government doesn't like. I think I crossed the line you didn't. And so in some ways, you know, quite obviously what's taking place with you is unjust. And yeah, I just have a tremendous level of respect and admiration for the way that you've handled and conducted yourself. You've been in great spirits, like a little powerhouse, just jumping from one podcast to the other. Articulate, you look good and healthy. I'd probably be stressed, weathered away, and skinny by this point if I were you. So yeah, man, I'm impressed. And I think the attack on privacy is a real issue. You can't really have solid property rights without privacy rights. And you know, it's unfortunate, but I do think, you know, when I saw the clip from Trump, I was blown away. I could just absolutely shocked how impactful all the people's efforts have been. And I have a very hopeful feeling about it. In some ways, it's a very telling moment for what the next 10, 20, 30 years look like. I think Bitcoin is the biggest deal, arguably, in human history. It's obviously one of the most important things happening in the world today. And what happens in your situation, I think, is going to be very telling for what the future looks like for us. And yeah, man, I commend the shit out of you for taking it like a G, because you really have, man. So much respect to you and everybody involved who's participating in this revolution. This is a big
Stack,
deal.
when you were at your peak of growing marijuana, did you ever imagine 50 agents showing up at your house?
I had some close calls. Yes, I did. I had a close call. I got roped into some sub licensing deal with a breeder of a strain that was out of state, and I ended up face to face with what I am absolutely convinced at this point, still to this day, was a DEA agent. I wrapped up all my shit, took all my paperwork, took it to my attorney, and I spent a few days in hiding. So I've been scared at times of getting in trouble, but I've never been facing anything like you are, Keone. Not even close.
Did you play through your mind having to explain that to your mom, your dad, your
big time
friends and family, and
yes,
being in the cage maybe?
Yeah, I got pulled over driving to a High Times Cup with an enormous amount of product, a whole litany, everything you could ever want, like a mobile dispensary in the middle of the night driving to Southern California from Humboldt County. And it was a powerful feeling, you know, getting pulled out of the vehicle, thinking like, oh, fuck, dude, all my houses, all my shit's getting raided. It turned out being okay, but yeah, I mean, I definitely lived a sketchy life there for a little while, but once again, it's nothing on the level that we have going on here. Not even close. This is a much bigger deal.
And what's crazy about it is that there's no criminal activity, not one communication from anyone bad with Keone, not one piece of evidence, no hard evidence whatsoever in this case, period. There just isn't. If you look at the details of the case, the plea is for conspiracy. It's something that was forced. What he's been to is a forced situation. And it really is disgusting, man, because you're talking about people like yourself that have done things that whatever. And Keone's looking at 5 years with no crime, with pure innocence, just building software. It's to me, it's the worst case that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I believe, like you do, that Bitcoin is a once in a human history moment. And I think that's why we see the aggressive nature that we see being taken on Keone. So
yeah, and after, you know, listening to Keone's story a handful of times now, I suspect that the prosecuting team, the DOJ, FBI, thought that they were going to be able to link him with helping somebody launder their money. And I think at this point they're saving face. And
they didn't even have that. They just made up some random crap. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Keone. Yeah.
So I think you're actually right about that. I think because the indictment, every attorney that we spoke to, whether we hired them or didn't, all kind of said the same thing about the indictment. They said this is really thin. This is a pretty flimsy case based off of this evidence. They must have something else. There must have more. And so my theory is that they had enough to get an indictment. And you know the old saying, you can indict a ham sandwich. Indictments are incredibly easy to get, right? It's a prosecutor and a grand jury and a judge. There's no defendant, there's no defense. and they're putting their side of the story forward, and they're going to get what they want most of the time. And I think they were 100% confident that once they got this indictment, once they got the search warrant, once they raided my place, took every single one of my electronic devices, all of my notes, they were going to find their smoking gun that linked me to a specific criminal activity, to some particular criminal, and they had the smoking gun where we were discussing laundering the funds. And they didn't find it because that never existed. So in the superseding indictment, which for your listeners is the government just has another go at it, they found some new evidence, so they rewrite the indictment and bring you a new one. In the superseding indictment, they still didn't have anything like that. They just upped the number of illicit activity that they say went through the software. When it went from like 100 million to 200 million. And again, no smoking gun, no connection to actual crime. Lots of innuendo, lots of public statements made on Twitter that they can twist and turn into making intent, but nothing, no meat and potatoes. And I think you're absolutely right. I think the dropping of the charge was to save face. And I think it's pretty likely that we would have had at trial a similar outcome to what Roman Storm had, which was a hung jury on money laundering and a conviction on money transmission, even though it's so absurd because we had the FinCEN guidance, we had all of the things on our side. People don't realize that the judge is in so much control of what the jury is going to hear. The judge decides whether the jury hears about FinCEN at all. The judge decides whether the jury hears that we had legal counsel that gave us advice about FinCEN. Ultimately, I think we did the right thing taking the deal. And everyone who's been in this situation, who has fought the Department of Justice, I mean, everyone I spoke to said you did the right thing taking the deal. They were going to railroad you. They were going to put you away for 25 years, no question. I think you're right. I think that they really thought they were going to find that smoking gun because in their heads there was no other possibility than that we were guilty, right? They knew it in their core that we were money launderers, and when they didn't find that evidence, I think it embarrassed them.
Yeah, I think that's half the reason they put on such a show when they raided you. And if they couldn't convict you, then what message does that send to the marketplace? Within no time, there would be tons of coin mixers, tons of privacy tech that goes against, obviously, everything that this establishment is fighting against. So, yeah, it's unfortunate you've been caught in the crosshairs, but, I have a pretty hopeful feeling about it. Like I said, I was shocked to see Trump this morning on Twitter talking about your case. And so he's in an interesting position. He doesn't need to get reelected as president, but he's going to disappoint a lot of the libertarian and the Bitcoin community if he doesn't do something here. And the fact that he pardoned Ross Ulbricht, which I think in some ways is a harder pill for a normie to swallow than you getting pardoned. I think it's a much easier thing for somebody who doesn't understand what's happening to accept, like, hey, this guy made a wallet, he's being pardoned. So I'm hopeful. I think there's a lot of positive events that have taken place over there.
I just want to ask the group quickly on that note too. So maybe Brandon or Parker, you have some thoughts on this as well. In terms of keeping the pressure on Trump, what do you guys think is like the best tactic for actually making sure that this stays on his radar, it stays in front of him, that we actually do our best to push it forward? How do we as Bitcoiners in the community influence them?
I mean, my view, or Angela McCardle came to the Austin Bit Devs last month, or maybe it was Austin Bitcoin Club, and what she said was, and I know she was on here earlier, but to continue to put the pressure on because of the midterms, that like Trump's not on the ballot, but if the Republicans lose the House or Senate, and the House is more problematic, then that creates problems for him. And if he doesn't have the Bitcoiner voting block, then in her words, they're going to get destroyed at the ballot box. So even though he's not on the ballot, like keeping the pressure on, like if Bitcoiners don't turn out to support them, then they'll lose. That close. And so I think that message resonated to me, and I think that's there's like rifle shots of everyone that has relationships to lean on those relationships. But then in terms of public pressure, there's a lot riding on the midterms for Trump, even though he's not on the ballot.
I think this might be actually a good opportunity, Keone, for you to talk for a minute about maybe what you think we can do or how we can interact as you know, let's assume that you don't get the pardon and you go in on Friday, because I know you and I have talked about some things, but this is your last public appearance if you were to go in. And so I think one of the hardest things, the way, because believe me, man, I'm going through this in my head. And I'm like, if you go in on Friday, you know, it's a big, it hurts because you're amazing, right? Like you're the tip of the spear of this whole thing. This is your story, and you're such a good speaker, and you're tremendous. And so once you're gone, you're gone. And then it's just up to us to try to fight for you, you know, in your absence. So is there anything you want to talk about? I don't want to say anything for you, but you know, just in terms of keeping in touch, you know, I think that for us guys, it's about like, you know, we don't stop, right? Like Trump's going to do what he does. It's going to be, do we stop or not? Do we stop talking about it or not? So Keone, I don't know if you have any words about that as your last public appearance, but just thinking about how we can continue to, like, I don't want you to feel like I think I'll put it this way. Ross came into our space. Remember, this was one of the biggest moments for me of this whole week was Ross came into an X space with us, and he started talking to Keone very just matter of factly, you know, like, how are you feeling? Like, are you prepared to go in? Like, do you need anything? And I know, Keone, you've done a lot of prep. But a couple things Ross said that have stuck with me this whole week have been, you know, signing the petition, because that matters. And then letters, meaning sending communication to Keone while he's in there, because the biggest thing that they're trying to do, even when the pretrial happens, it's isolation. That's one of the biggest weapons that they use is isolation, to try to make someone go away. They use distraction. What's the next headline? What's the next news story? Everybody forget about Keone. And that I think is a big deal here. Hopefully, look, that's why I think this next until Friday is such a big deal. Like, continue to put your foot down on the gas, everybody. This is important. This is the moment when we get to maybe hopefully avoid all of this, right? That would be such a blessing if we can just say, cool, we did it. But we also have to be prepared to continue to just work through it for the worst case scenario, 5 years, right? So Keone, any thoughts like on that front?
Yeah, I mean, if the pardon doesn't happen, if I report and I'm in federal prison, I think what Shannon was saying earlier, keeping the message alive on socials is going to be important. It's going to be tough because, you know, we feel like we didn't win in getting the pardon, but keeping that pressure up and speaking about it keeps me and Bill alive, so to speak. I mean, I spoke to Ross privately after that call, and one of the things he kind of said, he said a lot, and I'm not going to say everything he's told me, but one thing he said that stuck with me is that whether you're going to prison for life like he did, or for 5 years like I am, in a way you die on the outside because you're not there. You're gone. You're now in the prison system. And they take that away from you. They take that life away from you. And if you're out there speaking on my behalf, because I won't be able to speak for myself to the same degree, you keep the person alive. And I think, and their thoughts alive. And I think that's an important thing. And I hope that people do that. To communicate with me, for the second part of your question, so communication will happen one of two ways. I will at some point write to my wife in my own words what I would like her to post on my behalf, and she will post that on my behalf to my X profile. So follow me there if you want to hear what I have to say. She won't be writing it. It will be me writing it, and so it will be something that I want to communicate publicly. That's communication from me to you. And if you want to communicate with me, it's very possible. Like Jesse said, Ross mentioned that letters are so important while you're inside because it's boring and lonely in there, right? The one thing that every single person who's been to federal prison has told me is the hardest part is the boredom. You're just bored. So getting letters and having, this outside connection is something that is important. So we'll put the address on billandkeone.org for both me and Bill if you want to write us letters. And, speaking for myself, I will write you back. It might take a while because there's a limit to how many letters you can send out at any given time, and buy stamps, how many stamps you can buy. But I will respond to the letters I receive. And, I think that's a great way to communicate, and really the only way to communicate with me, two-way fashion, other than me broadcasting out through my wife.
If I may, guys, I also just looked up too, if we don't get that information right away. So it looks like we can search the Bureau of Prisons website, so bop.gov, to find inmate and their location. And then you can search for that specific facility and the inmate mail policy to figure out what the restrictions and rules are in terms of setting letters. And the other thing I just wanted to quickly point out for everybody here right now is if you go to house.gov/representatives, it has every single representative. You can find their email and their phone number. So maybe that's something to get cracking on later this week when you have a spare 20 minutes.
I also thanks Nathan. I also want to say publicly that Keone and I. So I will be able to communicate with Keone through email. So we're going to set that up through the system, through the jail system, so that I'm able to do that. And so there'll be communication both through his Twitter, his ex, his wife. I'll be connected with his wife. And so, my hope is that we can, like you said, Keone, keep you alive on the outside, right? And I think that's going to feel really good for you on the inside, knowing that you're being kept alive on the outside. Because this is a psychological thing more than anything else, in my estimation. And so, just so everybody knows, we will have those communication lines. It may not be. It's actually not going to be fast for sure. It'll be slow. That's a guarantee, because it will be clunky going through the jail system. But I think it's going to be a good strategy for us, Keone, and I hope that it helps. And I'm really glad. I couldn't be more happy to know that, you're talking to Ross and that you've got that kind of support from Ross and Lynn. So.
Yeah, day one is still day one. We got to keep him out of jail.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn this a little bit into a party before we roll out, but FinCEN in both 2013 and again in 2019 explicitly stated that you must take custody of Bitcoin to be a money transmitting business, and that non-custodial software did not count. DOJ Blanche memo in 2025 again reiterates this fact, and prosecutors asked FinCEN specifically if Samourai was doing something illegal. And when the defense tried to bring these facts to light, they switched out the judge on the case.
Yeah,
it's horrendous. The system is broken. I'm going to play the Christmas jingle from Shannon Fitzgerald, and then we'll roll out with a little bit more of a party vibe.
Hold on, I want to add something first real quick. As far as you dying on the outside, I would have to assume that if you're not pardoned by Friday and you step foot into a jail cell, this movement is going to grow by orders of magnitude. A lot of people are sitting on the sidelines, and I think that will change. So I would say that my assumption is that you're going to have more support if you actually step into a jail cell. People are not going to forget about you, especially with people like Jesse and Puncher. I mean, go down the list of all these incredible people. So yeah, you're not going to be forgotten.
Appreciate that, guys.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. Let's get this party going. Shannon Fitzgerald wrote a jingle.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna play that now.
We're gonna love you guys.
I'm laughing because she specifically told you not to credit her, which is hilarious.
This was the AI. This was
written by my friend.
This was by the robots.
All right, let me bring that up. All right, it's gonna take me a minute.
Oh, I can create filler, or anybody can. But I guess what's on the top of my mind while you're bringing something up that someone created is just, again, the organic kind of contributions. Oh, here we go. The organic contributions that have come out of this, with it's just like people's skill sets, whatever they do, they're like, hey, I did this. This is another example of that. But Cedric, are you ready? I'm
ready now. Here we go.
Okay.
Here's to everybody who signed the petition tonight.
The keys or coins just help Bitcoin stay free. They wrote open source software for people doing right. But the DOJ came knocking and said this tool's a crime. Oh, pardon the samurai. They didn't do wrong, that's true. Privacy is not a crime. Encoded speech from me and you. Pardon the samurai. Let innovation stay. Don't jail the folks who build the tools just because bad guys play. They blame the builders of the road for how the cars were driven. That's not how justice works at all, or the rights we've all been given. Oh, pardon the samurai. They didn't do wrong, that's true. Privacy is not a crime. Encoded speech from me and you. Pardon the samurai. Let freedom ring and stay. Protect our rights, protect our code this Christmas. Do it the right way.
Love it.
Well, we have a new jam, new winter jam. We'll be playing that for the next 10 days at least for the holidays. But let's just keep making noise.
Yeah, dude.
And
Absolutely.
we have till Friday. This is on Trump's plate. I'm cautiously optimistic, and it will get louder if you have to go in on Friday. But that's all we can do. I mean, there's nothing really more important, I think, in Bitcoin than this right now. Maybe the silver lining is it's not the gains, it's the friends we make along the way. And
Amen.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I have my good old trusty Declaration and Constitution, pocket Constitution sitting here. So for the many Americans, but also Canadians, Nathan, one of my favorite line is the end of the Declaration. And in Bitcoiners, I think this is maybe some of the last vestiges of the American Revolution. Let's just call it what it is. And the last line is, "And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor."
Yeah.
And that's really all there is at the end of the day, because we're all gonna be 6 feet under. Everyone, no one's getting out alive. So what's the marker we're leaving, and what are we here for at the end of the day? So just appreciate you, Keone, everything you're doing. Godspeed.
Let's get Keone out of here
Appreciate
alive. Thank you, fellas. This has been tremendous. Keone, we wish you the best of luck and Godspeed. And anything we could do to help, let us know. It's good to know that you'll be communicating with us through whatever channels you can. We'll be looking to hear from you. We're just going to make as much noise as we can. That's what we do. So.
Keone, you're an inspiration to
appreciate
all Bitcoiners and everybody that came on this channel tonight and helped support him. We appreciate you greatly.
Yeah,
I definitely appreciate it, and I wanted to, like I said right at the beginning, let's not make this a somber affair. Let's treat this as a going away party, and we did, I think, and we had a lot of people. Some people I'm meeting for the first time, like Parker, like Larry, like Bob. I've never met. I know about these people, of course. Who doesn't? But I've never met them, so I was happy to finally meet and have great discussion. So yeah, thank you for putting this together. I'm sure logistically it was kind of a challenge getting this many people into a room, but I think it was well worth it, and I think the viewers and all the views. It looks like there's a lot of views on this thing. I think is saying something, right? People are interested in this. They want to hear. They want to keep this alive. And you know, from what everyone has said, and I've been reading the comments. They're going to keep it alive, and that's, you know, comforting to know. So thanks again.
Yeah, I mean, the only challenge was trying to fit everyone in who wants to support you and make as much noise as possible. So we appreciate you, and we're here for you. This is just the beginning. I'm very optimistic, but you know, you know, you're in the line of fire for all of us. So we're here for you. I'll leave it. You know, do you have any parting words, or
No,
you know, Jess,
anybody on
Parker,
the
Stacks,
panel.
Nate?
I'll just say real quick. You know, Keone's exhausted. Okay, he's put in so much effort to do this. This is his last public appearance. He's not supposed to go until Friday. We've heard from the president already. So we have between now and Friday. Okay, so let's continue to go hard. This guy deserves some time with his family. Okay, he's going to be with his family tomorrow. His Christmas is basically tomorrow, in case he has to go in. So he's going to be with his loved ones. So just, you know, when you get off this call, or when you stop listening to this, you know, go look at your loved one that's next to you, or your pet, or your family member, or your friend, and just think about it. Think about if you couldn't be with that person, if you're about to go behind bars for no reason. So let's do everything we can, guys, because I think we, like Cedric, I'm optimistic. I was so blown away, you know, by the mention from the president of the United States. What was it, Keone? I woke up in the morning and I said, "Hey, the president is saying your name." That's what I texted to Keone. So let's keep it up, guys. I mean, I'm so proud of the Bitcoin coalition. I'm so proud of everybody for stepping up, for speaking up. There's so many unsung heroes. And Keone, I love you, buddy. And we're here. We're working right beside you. We're gonna be beside you the whole time. Okay.
Yeah,
appreciate
I just want to add one more thing. And I know that everybody hanging out here and everybody who's come through has had the same thing too. The amount of times that I've had people ask me how they can work in Bitcoin, how they can support Bitcoin, the people that they find it and they want to get involved. Well, here's your chance. That song was great. You can make songs, you can make memes, you could write letters, you could take the videos and clip them, you could AI translate them into a different letter. This is the perfect opportunity for everybody. And I know we've all had a ton of them ask us that want to work, want to contribute, want to do something in Bitcoin, but don't have the skills to code, but want to do something. This is your something. This is that moment. Find something and do it.
Amen. Right on.
Well,
Thank you, fellas. Godspeed, Keone.
Cheers.
Cheers. Happy
Thanks,
holidays.
Cheers.
Paul.
Thanks,
boys.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
We're gonna roll out.